Roberts running to the left side, trying to angle outside of the 40, 45, left sideline to midfield, to the 35, a foot race to the 20. Roberts angling back to the 5, to the house, 63-yard run by Jamal Roberts. And Missouri takes a 10-point lead over Kansas with 1:49 to play. How about those Tigers?
How about them, indeed? That's what it sounded like on the Tigers Radio Network. It is 11:07. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Just wanted to get that out of the way. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Mizzou got it right on their quarterback. They got it right on both of their running backs. What a game this weekend, Alex. What a game. Bo Prabila throws for 330 yards through the air, made some huge clutch plays. I think there were some unjust critiques of Brady Cook over the last couple of seasons. I thought overall he was average to above average as a college starter. And I think that it is fair to say at this point in time, Mizzou definitively upgraded at the quarterback position from where they have been over the last 2 years. I'm already willing to say that after seeing exactly 1.5 games of Bo Prabila. He's a very good runner, as we saw in week 1 against Central Arkansas, and as we knew when he transferred from Penn State, considering I think he was in the top 2 in the Big Ten in rushing yards among quarterbacks over the last 2 seasons, and he did that as a backup quarterback at Penn State. Was never worried about his legs. Had serious questions about the arm. He had never been asked to throw. That doesn't mean that he's not good at it. It just means he hadn't been asked to do it. Well, through a game and a half, including this week where he made some big-time throws, not only is that question asked and answered, that question is answered. It's like, whoa, okay, what are we talking about here? So much so that Bill Connolly, we had on the show on Friday, one of the best college analysts for my money in the business, wrote over the weekend that through 2 weeks, Bo Prabila has been the best quarterback in the SEC, Alex, and it's hard to disagree with it. That guy was nails on Saturday. Hell of a win for the Tigers at home against KU.
Yeah, and he looks the part. He looks like the best quarterback in the SEC right now. Everything about him, whether it's his legs and how he can escape danger, which we talked about in their first week 1 win, or if you talk about what he did against Kansas. I mean, you're not lying when it comes to the placement of his throws. I mean, there were 2 or 3 passes in the second half where it was just dropping dimes right into the hands of his receivers, and he just looks confident whatever state of the game, whether they're down or whether they're driving down the field. It just felt like he was the pulse for the Tigers, which, again, nothing against Brady Cook, but you always had doubts when you knew you needed a big drive.
See, I didn't feel that way with Brady Cook. I always felt really good in those spots, but I definitely felt good over the weekend as well.
I felt like you did. I said before the season that it's like I feel like you need some type of game manager with that quarterback, and it just never felt like it was. There were moments when you needed a drive where it was like, oop, I don't know what's going to happen in this one. In that Kansas game, it just felt like Mizzou was going to win, and it was just because of the presence that Prabula made. And it's not just him, though. I mean, you have to look at the offensive weapons of what he was able to accomplish with the receivers and their dual threat running game. It's an offense that gets you super excited now in the SEC. And to Bill Connolly's point, the reason being, he might be the best quarterback in the SEC this season.
Yeah, he looks great. There was no doubt he was going to be able to run the football. My biggest question was, okay, would he be able to be the guy that you could have the explosive plays with? Because that's what can really change a good offense to a dynamic offense. And he's been able to do that so far. He's a hell of a lot better a thrower than I was expecting coming into this year. And that's what's going to lift what the ceiling could be for the Missouri Tigers. If he was just okay, Brady Cook-esque, they'd be about what they had been the last 2 years, like a 9, 10-ish win team. This is different, man. Like, this looks different. Prabula is a huge win for the Missouri Tigers. They got it right at quarterback, and he's looked very impressive early on.
The game overall was weird. Just a weird game. I mean, you have the fumble that gets the scoop and score for KU, taking it the other way. KU had a few explosive plays, but then you look at the box score. Mizzou finished with 360 more total yards than Kansas had on the day. Missouri's defense was not actually all that bad. They gave up 24 yards offensive, or 24 points rather, offensively to Kansas on the day. And most of that came on like 3 big plays by KU. Jalen Daniels, that guy is a boomer bust quarterback, and you saw it on full display on Saturday. There were a couple of just magical moments for him, and a couple of them that you look at and you're like, yeah, that's an erratic quarterback that has his ups and has his downs. But man, when he is at his best, he makes some plays that maybe 3 to 5 other quarterbacks in the country are capable of making. So he got his. Missouri's defense gave up more explosive plays than you'd like to see. That was an issue for them a year ago as well. They've got to get that figured out. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along today. But really, the story of the game to me was the offense. The offense finding a way to look the way that it did 2 years ago. I thought Kirby Moore was locked in. That was one of the best games that I've seen him call in his time at Mizzou. Bo Perbilo, we just talked about it. 330 through the air, 3 touchdowns, no picks. The list of Mizzou quarterbacks to do that against a Power 5 opponent over the past 5 years. Cook did it once against Vandy in 2023. Bazelak did it once against LSU. You guys remember that first game by Eli Drinkwitz against the defending national champion LSU Tigers that ended up being terrible that year? That's
Bazelak.
the list. Those are the only 2 times that it's happened for a Mizzou quarterback since 2020. Now Bo Perbilo can add his name to the list. Jamal Roberts had the big run. Ahmad Hardy runs like a madman. Kevin Coleman Jr. has officially emerged as the go-to guy for Mizzou's offense. There's no doubt about it. And I've been hearing about Brett Norfleet now for like 6 years at the college level. He's from my area in St. Charles, and I got to be honest with you guys. I've always liked him as a blocker. I've never really seen it as a receiver, and he gets hurt too much. He was awesome in this game. He has been awesome in each of the first 2 games so far this year, and that's a huge X factor for this offense. I want to add one more name here, though. Donovan Olugbade. That guy's a stud. The catch that he made, 4th and 4, I believe it was, the one-handed grab on the sideline, one of the best plays that I saw in all of college football this weekend. He moves differently. I'm willing to say some wild stuff about him as we continue along.
You talked about him after week 1.
Yeah, because he made some ridiculous plays after that game, and then he continued showing up this week against a Power 5 opponent. He needs to continue seeing the field with regularity. That guy's going to be one of the best Mizzou receivers the last 20 years. Like, that's going to happen. But anyways, exciting win for Mizzou. Great win overall. Kevin Coleman Jr. has emerged as their legit go-to guy. And final thing that I've got on this one before we get to the Illini, we'll give them a solid couple of minutes. Nice win for them.
Yeah, sorry, we're running late.
Damn it,
Sorry, T-Bone. That game needs to be played every year. It was too good of an environment. You guys saw the Mizzou student that had the opportunity to win $25,000.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this, Mizzou kid has an opportunity to win $25,000 if he kicks the ball through the uprights, right? The Pat McAfee thing, right?
Yeah.
Instead, he takes his opportunity to kick the ball at the KU sideline, pulls up his shirt, and it says FKU. Great. Absolutely fantastic.
Great and also stupid, but great.
He was not going to make that kick anyways, but it was a fantastic moment. That's the kind of stuff. That's just one moment, one glimpse into what Saturday was like. I was not at the game, but I have heard from people that the environment was fantastic from start to finish. Just an awesome overall day in Columbia. T-Bone, how was your weekend? Watching the Illini.
It was great. You know, I believed in the boys for the whole week, and I started to lose a little bit of doubt when BK would come in and say, "Oh boy, I don't know. I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can beat Duke." And let me tell you, watching the first half, I really got scared. Man, that was an impressive win. That was probably the most dominant win I've seen of the Brett Bielema era, especially against a Power 4 conference opponent. That was unbelievable what they did over the weekend. Luke Altmaier looked awesome. He looks like he's taken another step in his development towards becoming not just a game manager, but maybe a difference maker for the Illini. The defense, to me, looked awesome. Forced, I think it was 5 turnovers in that game. They were all over Mensah at quarterback as well. I was impressed. I thought, I said it with my chest. I took them on my point spread. Man, I couldn't have been happier with the way that they played this weekend.
That first quarter, though, I was like, ooh, boy, this one ain't going to look pretty.
Really?
Yeah. At least you started to see a little bit more sign of life offensively in the second quarter. But the first quarter, it's like, oh, this is going to be ugly. And I didn't want to text because I knew you were watching it late. And then it's like, I'm doing yard work, so I have it playing in the background. And then I start to hear it's just Altmaier. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah, they figured out who they are. This is not your typical Brett Bielema team.
Yeah,
they're not a run first, defense first team. No, this is Luke Altmaier's team. This is his show, and they'll go as far as his arm's able to take them. Hank Beatty has also emerged as the clear go-to guy for Illinois. I was wondering coming into the year who's going to replace Pat Bryant. Well, Beatty showed up in week 1.
Complete different player, too.
How much of that was real? How much of it was the opponent? It was hard to say with any certainty. And now you leave week 2 going up against a really solid Duke team, and you say to yourself, all right, well, that's the dude. He has the rushing touchdown, went for more than 100 yards through the air once again. He's your go-to guy. You got a big spot, 3rd and 6. I know exactly where the ball is going. So for Mizzou, it's Kevin Coleman Jr. He's emerged already. You're 2 weeks in, no questions about it. For Illinois, you've got your go-to guy, Hank Beatty. Defense was really good. Just overall, I did not think that Illinois would go on the road and win that game. I picked Duke going in. Full kudos to Illinois. And now I'm ready to be in the same boat as T-Bone. This is a team that should be in contention for a college football playoff spot.
Yeah.
Will they? I don't know. USC looks pretty interesting so far this year. Indiana's a good team. That's going to be a tough road game for them. And they still have Ohio State. If you win at least one of those 3 games and you take care of business everywhere else in your schedule, you should be at least 10-2 this year, and you'll have a shot. You'll give yourself a chance to be able to get in. At 10-2 this Big Ten, I think you probably get in. That's probably enough, and you would have at that point at least one quality win. If it could come against Indiana or Ohio State, that'd be ideal. But if it comes against USC, it is what it is, and 10-2 I think will get you in this year.
I agree, and I think what you said about the Big Ten is right. They're probably like anywhere between 4 to 6. In Indiana, USC, probably the 2 teams that are kind of in that mix as well, because I think there's only 3 teams better than them in the Big Ten. It's Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and they avoid 2 of those 3 on their schedule this year.
He's T-Bone, that's Alex, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you guys want to get involved in the show, the way to do so is 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. Also available on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. That's where NY, iRock, Matt, Bill, Eric, Bacon Wrap Tweener, they're all hanging out over there along with Gator, who, man, I'm sorry. Rough weekend for Florida. USF is a pretty decent team. I think they've shown that through the first couple of weeks, and maybe Miami's about to find out on Saturday as well. But Gator, I'm sorry, man.
Hey, at least he showed up today, you know?
Yeah.
Way to come here just so PK could call you out for your team's
Not
loss.
everyone can be good in the SEC.
And
that's
not
true.
everybody can be good at picking games either. So we will get to that coming up next in our Pick'em Reveal. We gave you our picks of the week on Friday. We'll tell you how we did coming up next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Every week we dread it, Alex, and every week it somehow goes worse.
What do you mean?
For at least some of us. It's our football pick'em, and on Mondays,
Anxiety.
if you're new to this, it's our football pick'em reveal. So on Fridays, we'll give you our 3 plays. We grade it on a scale of 1 to 3, possible 6 points each week. And if your team covers the spread, it's a win for you. If they don't, it's a loss, and you don't get any points.
It's either a great weekend or an awful weekend.
Yep, there's really not very often that it is somewhere in between.
I'm smart to do all of mine on Sunday, so at least I can enjoy my Saturday.
All right, so Alex has a specific way that he goes about it. He waits till the end of the weekend. He gets his Sunday picks. Let's start with Alex's 1-point play from the weekend. He liked the Dolphins side of things.
I am picking the Dolphins plus 1.5 against the Colts. I like the 1.5-point underdog for the Dolphins, so that's my 1-point play.
I have the Dolphins as my 2-point play this week.
Okay. Pick it with
Dolphins plus 1.5 will win outright easily is my 2-point play this week.
Jones looking for the touchdown. He's got it. Second rushing touchdown today for Daniel Jones. And the Colts are pouring it on against the Dolphins.
Well, one team did win it easily.
Yeah.
Game was over in the first quarter. I should have changed it when you picked.
How many times have I said this offseason that Mike McDaniel's going to be the first coach fired? The Dolphins are a disaster. The defense is one of the worst in the league.
Same.
And my dumbass couldn't even pick them to lose in week 1.
It's because Daniel Jones was on the other side. And, I did this with Sam Darnold last year where I was like, this guy's just bad. I guess the only one that actually was just bad was Zach Wilson.
You know things are really going to go poorly when you get picked apart by Danny Dimes in week 1.
God.
All right.
Brutal.
So that's a loss for both myself and for Alex. His 2-point play, though, went a little better.
I am going to the team that I believe is going to be the NFC East champions, and I am going, because it's a rivalry game, taking the Commanders minus 5.5 against the Giants. I think the Commanders have something to prove coming out with this one. They got their guys locked up. I think Jaden Daniels signs, and I think they win this one by a touchdown.
I'm nervous on that game.
Going to give it to Samuel. End around. Looking for blocks. Gets him. Samuel is in. Touchdown, Commanders.
Glad you were just nervous and didn't decide to choose it with me, because that one felt comfortable after I watched Russell Wilson drop back and get pounded into the turf.
By the way, any of you guys that were giving me crap about Bill Krosky-Merritt, remember when I said, hey, pick him in your fantasy leagues, this could be a potential league winner, and then he was 4th on their depth chart? Yeah, and then Chris Rodriguez was healthy and active going into week 1, and Bill Krosky-Merritt was the guy that ended up getting the bulk of the carries.
85 yards?
85 yards, touchdown on the ground.
Clearly their RB1.
Yeah. Really solid pick for you in
my
fantasy.
other league.
I was wrong on this one. I thought that the Giants' defensive line would cause some issues. The Commanders didn't look great offensively for most of the game, but the Giants were never able to do anything offensively.
Yeah, Russell Wilson as a quarterback. Who would have thunk?
Brian Dable going to be in a race with Mike McDaniel for first coach
and they
fired.
had to go away from their other one running. Tracy wasn't very good for them, so they went to the other 2, and I think they combined for 5 yards.
Yeah. I think they're going to need to make that quarterback change quicker than expected.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors is thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, Dable said yesterday he's not committing to Russell Wilson as a starter for week 2.
He looked terrible.
He did not look good. He had one good deep ball, but other than that, it was not good. So a big win for Alex, his 2-point play this week. And on the 3-point play, he went with one of the most public plays of the week. How'd it go for him?
Tell you the one team that's going to be in for a rough season, it's the Saints, and I am picking the Cardinals minus 6.5 on the road as my 3-point play.
They're going to roll the pocket. They shovel it to Connor. Connor into the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinals.
As good of a win as that felt, I was nervous about it for a little bit there because the Cardinals couldn't put them away, which is honestly a little concerning if you're a Cardinals fan, that you couldn't put that team away in the second half, and on top of it, you let Spencer Rattler have a chance to win that game for them.
The 5 most bet sides in the NFL this week: the Steelers minus 3, loss; the Giants plus 6, loss; the Broncos minus 8.5, loss; Detroit plus 2, loss; and Arizona minus the 6.5. It was the only one of the top 5 most bet sides this week in the NFL that actually covered.
Don't overthink it.
So, Alex, well done. You ended up with 5 points this week. A hell of a start.
Suck on that, graveyard chat.
Yeah.
Tried to make fun of me last week.
Now, that's a nice week for our guy, Alex. In week 1 of the football pick'em, let's see how T-Bone did with his 1-point play. He went with his boys.
I am going to make the Fighting Illini my 1-point play, -3 on the road. I think they are going to win by a touchdown or more. Luke Altmaier, Brett Bielema, build them their statues by Memorial Stadium as they're going to start the year 2-0 on their path to the college football playoff.
It's Hank Beatty, who keeps it himself and has a lane inside the 10. Touchdown, Illinois!
Yeah, the boys are balling, baby. The boys are balling.
Listen, man, I gave you a lot of crap last week. I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. I'm going to have to do that a lot today.
Yeah.
I'm ready to admit I was wrong. Your Illini are a really good team, man. They're a really good team, and they took care of business this week on the road. Good for you. Good for the Illini.
Yeah, they are playoff-bound, Brandon. They're going to show you what it's like when you have expectations. They're going to live up to them, unlike Mizzou last year.
And unlike another team that went to the playoff a year ago that T-Bone believed in this weekend.
And for my 2-point play, I'm going with Arizona State as they go on the road to cowbell country to take on Mississippi State. 6.5 is the line. Mississippi State still trying to rebuild. Arizona State looks like a playoff caliber team. I like them minus the 6.5 points.
Pressure was picked up. Shapen, wide open, caught across the middle. Touchdown!
That one was a roller coaster because they were down 17-0 quickly. And I was like, oh, that's a loss. And then they came back, and they had the ball. Inside 2 minutes ago, the ball is on the 2. We're going to run it in. We're going to get the backdoor cover. We're going to win by 7. And then they get held at the 2-yard line. 3 plays in a row, have to settle for a field goal, then give up the bomb. Unbelievable.
That line felt weird from the get-go. Just felt strange. It felt like a trap. Road game. You can't lose that one.
No.
Just a weird game overall by Arizona State. I can't pretend as if I watched a ton of it. I did watch the last couple of minutes. The quarterback, Sam Levitt, who everybody loves, finished 10 for 22 for 82 yards and 2 picks.
He wasn't great.
Just a weird game for Arizona State. I don't know what it says about them, if maybe they have more holes than we expected going into the season, but that ain't great. And they struggled in week 1 against Northern Arizona. So maybe this is going to be a down year for Arizona State compared to expectations. But not a great weekend for you or for Arizona State in that one. Let's see how your 3-point play went, T-Bone.
For my 3-point play, guys, you know what they say? You go on the road in the SEC. Oh, it's really tough to win on the road. Now, when do you go to Kentucky this year, guys? I think Ole Miss is going on the road and kicking the crap out of them. I like Ole Miss minus the 9.5 points in this SEC matchup.
I've actually got it at 8.5. Would you like the 8.5?
Yes, please. Even better.
The reason that I mentioned that, Alex,
is that your 3-point play?
My 3-point play is Ole Miss going on the road at Kentucky. This is a crazy line. It's wrong. I know I have said this in the past, and at times it has not worked out for me, but it will this week.
Well struck. And good. Those who occasionally invest on such things were just impacted by that. Field goal, which brings it to a 7-point game.
Proud of our guys. Sorry to a lot of gamblers at the end.
You know, sentences that just ruin your day. So your card was declined. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that car coming. And this line is wrong.
I
just ruins your day.
I know, and he jumped on board.
He jumped on board with mine.
I know. And Owen, we both went 0-2 because of him.
We should enact a rule that if BK jumps on board with our bets, we have the ability to switch
I think he picks first from now on.
I agree with that, actually.
They kick a field goal with 1:10 to go. They're up by 10 points. Kentucky gets the ball. They drive down the field. They get a 38-yard bleeping pass with 15 seconds to play. So Kentucky is down by 10 with 15 seconds to go. Why are you kicking a field goal? That does nothing for you. You still need the touchdown, and you're closer now than you're likely to be on your next drive. You gotta go for the touchdown.
No, go with the field goal.
Oh, you know he was just over there trying to cover. That's all Stoops was doing. That's the worst part of this, is that it was just about going to cover town.
When you're a bad team, you just want to screw the day up for the bettors.
If we're being honest, Ole Miss didn't show up for most of that football game, which is very frustrating because they should have dominated that game.
It's on me for trusting them. but it's on him for coverage.
God, I loved it so much. That was the game that I watched in the second half because I wanted to see the failure.
I didn't see it because I was watching either the Illinois or Mizzou game. So I was avoiding everything on my phone so I didn't get the game spoiled for me. And all I get is a text, we just got screwed on a bad beat, T-Bone.
All-time bad beat.
It's a great text to get.
So T-Bone goes 1 for 3, gets the 1 point. Alex, a commanding lead over T-Bone this week. You've already heard my 3-point play. You've already heard my 2-point play. It came down to my 1-point play. Can I at least tie this week with T-Bone? God, please allow me to just tie for the week with T-Bone. Let's take a listen. My 1-point play this week is going to be the Ravens going on the road at the Buffalo Bills. I think the Ravens are the better regular season team. Ravens win going away. I like them minus the 1.5.
I wasn't touching this with the 10-foot pole, but I like the Bills on this one.
From 32 yards, straight air, made it, and the Bills open their final season in this stadium with a stunning comeback win.
Everybody saw that. I think it was 0.9% chance that the Bills could win that game.
Can I read you some stats from last night, Alex?
Oh, please. I was watching all of them.
I think this is the biggest BKO of all time.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I think it's the single greatest BKO in the history of the BKO. Use promo code BKO over on Underdog.
Dude, you shut down an airport.
I think this was worse.
I don't know
about that, man.
The airport one affected a lot.
Teams to score 40 or more points. That's happening a lot lately, by the way. 40 or more points in at least 235 rushing yards in a game were 277-0. Had never lost until last night. And then Baltimore found a way to lose. The Bills' win probability was as low as 1.1% with 8:37 to go. It was the single most improbable comeback by the Bills with Josh Allen at quarterback, and the 13th most improbable comeback by any team over the last decade. Okay, we continue.
I loved it.
Teams that were trailing by 15 or more points in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter were 3 and 2,312 since 2000. Again, 3 wins, 2,312 losses. The Bills were the first team in NFL history to be down by at least 15 points with under 4 minutes and to win in regulation. The first team in NFL history to do what you saw yesterday. Josh Allen's 250 passing yards in the fourth quarter alone were his most ever in any quarterback in his career.
It felt good, man. It felt good the whole time knowing that I was rooting for the Bills, but I was also rooting against you and watching them get the fumble from Derrick Henry, and I'm like, oh, this game is going.
When that happened, I went, oh boy,
this game's going the other direction.
I just don't understand.
I gotta see if I can find the text. There was a text in the group chat. I think it was something along the lines of, well, at least one of my team showed up today.
Oh no.
That felt good, man.
Oh, what a disaster. So 0 for 3 week for me. If you faded me, I hope you had a great weekend.
So in the midst of this bet, you complained about Danny Dimes. You said that the line was just flat wrong.
Yeah.
And you said that the Baltimore Ravens are the better regular season team.
Yeah,
I still believe that. Away. They dominated last night.
Until the fourth quarter.
No, not just the fourth quarter. The final 5 minutes. Dude, in their last 3 drives, 3 and out, fumble by the greatest running back that I've ever seen. And he had an unbelievable night. Derrick Henry was on fire. They could not stop him. And this 250-pound man couldn't hold on to the football. I don't understand.
You probably thought it was a defender's head.
0-3 week for me, 1 point for T-Bone, 5 points for Alex, a commanding lead after 1 week for Alex Ferrario in our Pick'em Challenge. Somehow, I was only worse in the Pick'em Challenge with the fast lane than I was in ours. I was really bad in ours. I was horrific in the fast lane.
Maybe you should tell the fast lane.
We lost because of me. Oh. I had 8 picks correct. Everybody else had at least 11 picks correct.
Fast lane, this is a shout out to all of you. T-Bone and I are open for invitation if you'd like to kick BK out for the rest of this season.
I think that they're at least considering it.
Yeah, T-Bone and I are all available.
They are as committed to me as the Giants are to Russell Wilson right now.
Oh, okay. Well,
in 10 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. But next, we'll go big picture with the college football weekend. The SEC just broke a record, but is it as good as the numbers suggest? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN. It was a rough weekend for me in our picks, but it was a great weekend for me on Underdog. Alex, football is back, and Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long, and you can win right here in the state of Missouri. I had Agbuka, Taylor, Judy all going over the weekend, and they all did exactly that. I got 6 times my money over on Underdog. That's what I'm going to try to win tonight in Monday Night Football as well. For my entry tonight, I've got lower on J.J. McCarthy passing yards. I've got higher on Cole Kmet receiving yards, and I've got higher on Van Ginkel sacks. First night for McCarthy could go a little awry for him. That's 6 times your money over on Underdog. You got to start playing over there today.
It is super simple to do, and you get your entries right. You could win up to 5,000 times your cash, and you can play with as little as $1. Download the app today, Underdog app, and sign up with promo code BKO to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code BKO. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals took down the Giants yesterday as they take 2 of 3 from San Francisco. And tonight they head out west as they start a 3-game set at the Seattle Mariners. 8:40 will be first pitch. Brian Wu will get the start for Seattle. Miles Michaelis will be on the mound for the Cardinals. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, Monday Night Football for you as we will see the Bears take on the Vikings. We've got pregame coverage starting at 6 with kickoff at 7:15. The Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Dramatic up for the win, and there it is. 18-16, the final score, and the Bulls explode off the bench.
That's what it sounded like over the weekend as South Florida on ESPN is able to take down the Florida Gators. I do apologize to Gator and the YouTube chat for having to hear that here on a Monday. SEC, Alex, came into this season expecting to be pretty damn good. Florida was one of those teams that I was expecting big things from. I still really like their quarterback in DJ Lagway, but they lose over the weekend as a top 15 team at home to South Florida. That's not what you want. Now, South Florida's a decent team, and they're the kind of team that can pull off these upsets. You still can't have that. As an SEC team at home, no chance. But the SEC still has 11 teams in the top 25. It broke a record, most teams ever, for one conference in the top 25. The Big Ten has 6 teams. No other conference has more than 3. My question to you, Alex, is I've watched these first couple of weeks. I have not felt as though the SEC is this dominant conference. That doesn't mean that it's bad. I think it's really deep. But I don't know that they have any one team that I would list as a dominant team this season. Do you feel that way? How have you felt watching the SEC compared to previous seasons?
No, I haven't felt that way, and it goes to what we talked about in the open segment. Like, I think Prabula might be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, which nobody was talking about at the beginning of the season. I mean, go through, like, Texas was ranked number 1 at the beginning of the year, and they've dropped down to 7 in the most recent rankings. I think the only team that I could look at and say is probably going to be really good once again is Georgia. But I also hasn't seen Georgia play anybody in the first 2 weeks. So it's hard for me to judge them the same way that I can look at, what Ohio State has done or what LSU has done or, heck, even what Oklahoma just did in terms of beating Michigan. So, no, I said at the beginning of the year that this feels as open as the SEC has ever been. And it's impressive to have that many teams in the top 25. But I think that backs the statement that we made. There's not one dominant team anymore. I think it's a wide open field in terms of rankings, in terms of when you look at rosters and you say who's got the best one. I don't know if anybody is viewed as a juggernaut, especially in the SEC.
Yeah. When you look at what happened over the weekend, LSU didn't look great against Louisiana Tech. Georgia didn't look great against Austin Peay. I can't tell if this is them just playing with their food or if the offense is actually potentially a problem for them this year. Texas, whatever. Like San Jose State, all right, that didn't tell me anything about your team.
And he also didn't look that great in that game, Arch Manning.
Yes, so far, you guys know how much I love Lenore Sellers. He has not looked the part of the quarterback that I saw at times a year ago. The SEC teams that have probably impressed the most so far this year are Mizzou, interestingly enough. And then I guess you would throw like Oklahoma onto that list. John Mateer has lived up to all of the expectations. The defense has been very good. Auburn has looked better than expected so far this season. And then maybe Vandy. They looked really good over the weekend against Virginia Tech as well. But these are like low to mid-tier teams. These aren't the teams that we were expecting to be in the top 4 or 5 early on in the season. I would say the only team that's really stood out to me thus far, college football-wise, is Ohio State, and that's really just looking back to what they did in Week 1 when it's not as though their offense was fantastic. How have you viewed the SEC thus far?
Yeah, I view it kind of the same as you guys. Like, I think there are good teams. I don't think there's a great team in the SEC. No one has really stood out to me. I think the great teams, if there is one, because I think the jury's still out on that, if there is a great team in college football, it's going to come from the Big Ten. And I think it's down to the big 3 in the Big Ten. I think it's Ohio State, Penn State, and they weren't all that impressive this weekend, and Oregon. Like, I think those are the 3 teams that have the potential to kind of show us to be the dominant force in college football this year. SEC doesn't have that for me. Like, I'm watching these teams you've mentioned. Every team basically has kind of had its kind of struggles so far this year. I think the SEC is going to end up, I think it's better than the conference I'm about to bring up, but I think it's going to end up like the Big 12 last year, where when you look at the Big 12 last year, you had four teams atop that conference that were 7-2 in conference play. No one ran away and went undefeated or had one loss in the conference slate. Everybody was just kind of in a log jam at the top of that conference. That's kind of how I view it this year in the SEC, because no one is great. Everybody's just going to beat the hell out of each other, and it's going to make it difficult on the college football playoff committee to decide what to do with them.
Makes it a hell of a lot of fun for us.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an ideal scenario for college football fans. If you don't have any skin in the game, you go this weekend. Alabama versus Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's pretty bad.
Agreed.
But, I mean, we'll find out about Alabama.
Sounds like a 3-point play for both of you guys.
I'm not that confident.
Georgia versus Tennessee. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I have no clue in that game. Tennessee's looked pretty good this year. It looks so far as though they've upgraded at quarterback as well. Georgia's a 3.5-point road favorite. There's nothing that I've seen on the field thus far that would indicate that that's actually the way that this game will go. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole, though. We just watched Florida. You guys would agree. Pretty underwhelming performance by them.
Yep.
Have you guys looked at the line for Florida versus LSU this weekend? It's at LSU. Have you looked at the line, and if not, what do you think it would be?
I would think it would be big, but what you're saying is I would think it'd be over a touchdown, but I guess it's not.
It's 9.5.
Oh, okay.
Which is like
what I thought.
A reasonable
Favoring
line.
LSU, right?
Yeah, favoring LSU. I mean, after what I saw this past week, I think it could be even more than that if LSU's truly the third best team in the country as they are currently ranked.
I think that goes to show you, though, what you just said. I don't know if they view LSU as the third best team in the country.
South Carolina's at home on Saturday against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, they're a 5-point favorite.
Yeah.
In that game.
Yeah, like we talked about going into
South Carolina's ranked in the top 12.
That's wild. We talked about it going into week 2 of how like the best game other than Mizzou and Kansas was Oklahoma and Michigan, and how that wasn't even really that blockbuster of a game. Man, there really weren't that many blowouts in terms of these top teams, which tells me that 3 weeks from now we could be talking about a lot of these teams that are ranked like top 10 could be dropping down to like bottom 10 in the top 25, because there's going to be a lot of teams that get upset.
Yeah, it's got a chance to be a really fun college football season. And I think it's because in part of, no, not at all. In part because of what T-Bone has been mentioning, which is like all of these teams are pretty good. I think the SEC, this is as deep as I can remember the conference. Even the quote-unquote bad teams, Mississippi State, for example,
they're going to be feisty.
They can beat you. You know, on any given day, Vandy can get you. Vandy will pull off an upset similar to what they did last year against Alabama. That's coming for somebody this year. I don't know who it will be on their schedule. I hope to God that it is not my Missouri Tigers, but they're going to get somebody and potentially take them out of the playoff race. That's the kind of thing that's at stake basically every single week in the SEC this year, but their dominant teams are not as good as they were a year ago. So everybody has been pushed toward the middle, which makes it that much more fun because every game is basically a touchdown one way or the other, and we'll see who makes the plays at the end.
We said last year that it felt like the perfect time to expand the college football playoffs. This is going to be the year that the college football playoffs is going to be so much fun, because there's going to be like 8 teams in it that are going to be like, wait, this team's in? And it's going to be exciting.
We've talked about this with the Alabama stuff, about how it's compressed the talent, right? Everybody is a little more level playing field right now because of NIL, because of the transfer portal, all of these different things that have come together over the last 5 to 7 years. I think that's what we're witnessing over the last 2 years in the SEC. And it will be, as a byproduct of the college football playoff, it will be something that leads us to a more compelling regular season, which leads to, I have no idea what's going to happen in the playoff.
After this season, Eli Drink's going to open up next year's press conferences in the SEC Media Day, being like, yeah, I think we need to expand to 64 teams.
Actually, the tournament is now 68. Let's just go to that.
Yeah, we're going to conference in, please.
We're going to do March Madness where everybody gets in.
Can you imagine it's Texas versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State upsets them in the first round. They're this year's Cinderella.
It'd be some exciting football taking place.
Coming up next, questions and answers here on BK and Ferrario. With T-Bone and Alex on BK, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line. All right, from the 314, if you had to project which 4 SEC teams would make the playoff as of today, who would you go with?
Ooh. Okay, so Georgia's going to be 1.
Okay.
I'll say LSU 2. God, I don't know after that. It's so freaking wide open. I'll say, Oklahoma 3, Mizzou 4.
Oh.
Nailed it. That's a wild 4 that gets in the SEC.
I agree on the first 3, Georgia, LSU, and Oklahoma.
Of course he doesn't agree on Mizzou.
You got Oklahoma in?
I think so.
Have you looked at their schedule?
It's brutal, but they look pretty good.
At least they got a quarterback.
They better be amazing to get in. They've got Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, and Mizzou.
Well, I think they're better than Texas.
Mizzou's a win.
I think they're better than Texas.
Agreed.
Better than Alabama.
Agreed. Like I don't know if you have to be amazing to get through that gauntlet.
That's the thing.
I think you do because of how many 50-50 games you have. If you just flip a coin 7 different times, which is what they're doing, and you have to have it land on heads every single time, the odds of that are minuscule. So I do not have Oklahoma in, even if I do think they're pretty good.
Just think they have the better quarterback than a lot of these teams.
I agree with you there.
I'll put Tennessee as my 4th. They've got a pretty easy-looking schedule. I was looking at theirs while we were kind of talking about the SEC. So I would go Oklahoma, Tennessee, Georgia, and LSU.
No Texas for either of you.
No,
I don't believe in that team.
Yeah, Arch has not been impressive, and I think he's going to struggle in conference play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't looked good in the first 2 games. And I know Ohio State was the first one on the schedule, but, man, if you struggled this past weekend, what do you think you're going to do in the SEC?
I mean, he was good this weekend. He looked pretty good against San Jose State. I'm going to keep Texas in. I'll go Texas A&M as a second one. Tennessee as my 3rd, and Mizzou as my 4th. I'll go with those 4. How much do I actually believe that?
Not at all.
I don't believe mine either.
But I like those first 3. All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Ambition About Sports. Does Daniel Jones lead the Colts to an AFC South title?
No,
but I do feel better about my Jacksonville pick after this weekend.
Yeah, they looked like the best team in that division.
And that's not saying a whole lot. T-Bone, you saw your Rams against the Texans. That offensive line's atrocious. Yeah. It's not good enough. I think they have a pretty good defense, the Texans do. And I still believe in C.J. Stroud as a franchise quarterback. That offensive line is so bad that I'll go ahead and take the Jaguars.
Yeah, I don't believe in the Colts. I mean, congrats what you did against the Dolphins, Daniel Jones, but I don't believe that the rest of the way. I think the Jaguars were the best team out of that. If the Texans could figure out their offensive line, they'd be my easy pick. But, I mean, BK's right. Like, C.J. Stroud was under pressure that entire game. That's not going to last an entire season.
I think through 3 quarters, the pressure rate was at like 50%, which was insane, or maybe even finished at 50%. But, yeah, I don't think Colts are going to win that division. But I'm now more in on BK's thoughts of Jaguars, even though, like, I don't know what to make of them, because I thought that game was more about Carolina than anything. Bryce Young's still Bryce Young.
They're still a bad team.
Yeah, but I'm more open-minded to that. Colts might be feistier than we thought. Like, they look pretty good. I don't know that they're going to, 5 wins.
I think their offense looks good because of the Dolphins. Their defense is interesting. What they did to the Dolphins defensively.
And in that division, they could be feisty in those 6 conference or those 6 division games.
Colts are always feisty. Like, they always keep themselves in games. It's the offense that I've always doubted, whether it's people staying healthy or it's their quarterback problem, and I just don't believe in Daniel Jones.
All right, last one here from Big Paws. Guys, Mizzou student reporter got called out by Drink and a player for his take post-game. He apologized for it, but he shouldn't have had to. Thoughts? Did you guys see any of this story over the weekend? So a Mizzou student reporter went on their local student-run TV show and said, hey, I'm taking Kansas in this game. I think he picked him 30-27. He picked him in a very close game, said, hey, Jalen Daniels is a stud quarterback. I think that Mizzou's defense is going to have a hard time slowing him down, and that's why I'm going to go with KU in this game. 6th-year starter. I'm going to take him over Bo, who doesn't have a whole lot of experience. First of all, more than a reasonable opinion to have going into that game. Second of all, I think everybody was fine with the way that they handled it post-game. Drinkwitz had fun with it. It wasn't a situation where he berated him about picking Kansas. He had some fun with it. He was like, hey, bad take. You still believe in that? Bad take. He had fun with it, which is fine. It's all good. And then the player came in and basically did the same thing. Dalen Carnell said, hey, come on, man. Like, you're a Mizzou Tiger. You can't be taking Kansas. Whatever. And then the student reporter had fun with it on Twitter and was like, yeah, I learned my lesson, but all publicity is good publicity. Cool. Everybody goes their separate ways. I now know who the kid is because of this situation. So if it was somebody like talking down to the student reporter or screaming at him or whatever, yeah, that's over the top. What they did, I thought was totally fine. I thought everybody handled it reasonably well, all things considered.
Yeah.
Should Drinkwitz be caring about that stuff or be aware of that stuff? Maybe not, but obviously they took care of business. So
Well, that's his personality too, though.
Come on, kid. Say it with your chest in 2 weeks. Take the Gamecocks, okay? Say it with your chest.
By the way, some news on that. We were wondering, TV announcement time. What is Mizzou going to get? Mizzou versus South Carolina, Columbia, Missouri, September 20th. When will that game be played? It has since been announced. It is the late game. It's a late kickoff in Columbia for Mizzou versus South Carolina, a game that I am planning to attend in Columbia.
Definitely take the Gamecocks. Say it with your chest, kid. Weird stuff happens when BK's in attendance.
That's very true. I think you should stay back.
Oh, that is according to Pete Burns. But then I looked over on the ESPN.com page, and it says it's a flex, either 3:30 or 7 p.m.
Oh,
so
the SEC put it out. It says 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m.
Okay, so it's a late night game?
Yeah, it's the late game. Yeah,
Okay.
SEC just tweeted it out saying it's either 6 p.m. Central or 6:30 p.m. Central on ABC and ESPN.
Okay, cool. I hope that's the ABC game.
Kirk Herbstreit then?
It's possible. I think that might
crew?
be the College Game Day game that week.
It should be the College Game Day.
Be the first one that we have seen in Columbia since 2010 when, you remember, Alex, Mizzou versus Oklahoma, one of the best games in the history of Missouri's football program. So I'm looking forward to that one. I hope that they're able to get ESPN there and hopefully Game Day there. It all depends on South Carolina. They got to take care of business this weekend. If they do, it could be a top 15 matchup between the two sides. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll play a game of in or out. But next, we'll give you our NFL weekend wrap-up. And yes, I will address what happened to the Chiefs over the weekend. We'll talk about that next here on 101 ESPN. We're going to do this each week throughout the NFL season. We're going to do our NFL weekend wrap-up. So going into the weekend at 1:30 most weeks, we'll do our NFL weekend look-ahead, and then we'll wrap it up on Monday with some of the things that most stood out to us. So this week, we're going to get into the team that surprised you most in both a good and a bad way, the player that stood out, good or bad, however you want to take that, and the performance that made you question your priors. So if you came into this thinking they were going to be really good and now you're wondering, uh-oh, was I a little off, or vice versa? We'll get into all of those things here on BK and Ferrario. In 10 minutes, we'll get into in or out. So Alex, let's start out with the team that surprised you the most in a good way coming off of this weekend.
A team for me was the New York Jets. I did not expect them to be very good, although I know their defense is expected to be good. I like Justin Fields. I don't believe in Justin Fields. And, boy, he proved me wrong because I thought he and Garrett Wilson looked like an awesome tandem. And then you had his rushing ability, which came into a massive play for the New York Jets. I know they lost that game, but they were in that all the way through. Rodgers looked really good, surprisingly. But I viewed the Jets as another underwhelming 5-win team possibility. Now I think they could be a team that wins maybe 9 because of that offense with Justin Fields.
One of just, I think, 5 teams this weekend to score at least 30 points. An impressive showing by their offense for sure. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more here in just a little bit. T-Bone?
Yeah, mine would be the Packers and how much of a true contender they finally stand out to me to be, because I've been pushing back on BK's notion of the Packers being that for 3 years now.
Yeah, don't give this to him.
I know, but this time it actually felt that way, right? They dominated the Lions. The Lions looked lost offensively. The Packers offense looked really good. Their defense looked sound. Parsons was a menace like we expected him to be. They look like a legitimate contender. This is the first time that I'm willing to actually buy in on them. They were the most impressive team for me over the weekend.
I'm going to say it. I don't love saying it, and I'll get into this game more in a bit as well, is the Chargers for me. The Chargers don't win that game, ever. It never happens. They always lose these one-score games that come down to the end. I was really impressed by what they were able to do, especially offensively. Justin Herbert was locked in that game, man. Now, the Chiefs have some questions on the defensive side of the ball, and those are problems that they got to get figured out. But I'm also going to give credit to the other side of things. Not just that the Chiefs lost that game. Chargers went down there and took it from them. They were the better team from start to finish, and there was not a single moment in that game where I was like, I'm not totally sure who the better team is. No, it was L.A., and if they continue playing that way, they're going to win a whole hell of a lot of games this year. So the team that surprised me the most in a good way was the LA Chargers. In a bad way, I'm going to go to the game that T-Bone just mentioned with the Packers versus the Lions. What the hell was that, Detroit? Yep. Looked horrible. I thought the Packers would win that game. I picked them. I thought they would win outright. But, man, Goff just didn't look comfortable for most of the day. Their running game, did you see the numbers from this? The Packers defense, I think, is going to be pretty good this year, but their run defense is one of my big questions for them. The Lions finished with 22 carries for 46 yards. That's their bread and butter. The Ben Johnson thing is something I had my eye on going into week 1 and leaving week 1. They didn't squash any of those concerns for me. So the Lions, to me, were the biggest surprise in a negative way. That was a really disappointing offensive performance by them.
Yeah, that was mine, so I'll go a little different. The Dolphins. And I know we did this in our pick'em, but I mean, look,
so bad.
The Dolphins have so many playmakers, difference makers on their team, whether it's Hill and Waddle and A-Chain and Tua. That offense was embarrassing. I don't know if Mike McDaniel's going to make it through the season for Miami, but they kept camera panning to Tyreek Hill on the sidelines. I guarantee that guy's going back to where he was last year, where it's I need to get out of Miami.
I've got a spot.
I got a spot for you too, buddy.
My mom's got a place.
Yeah, but look, that offense.
My dad rents out Airbnbs. You could go there, I promise.
If that defense can't stop Daniel Jones and the Colts, and that offense can only put up 8 points, which I think was just junk points at the time that they scored, good luck winning more than 6 games. So, surprised me in a bad way. Miami, I don't even think you're going to be close to competitive this year.
Yeah, Miami was the clear one for me as well, because I said this, I think it was off air, but I thought they could be a playoff team coming into the year, because it wasn't so much about the defense, because I thought the defense would be a question mark, but I thought McDaniel would get that offense back to that high flying that you saw a couple years ago, and whew, boy, they couldn't be further from that. That was the first time that I was all in on McDaniel will be the first one fired. I thought he'd have a chance to get them back in the playoff hunt. That was ugly to see this weekend.
I'll throw one more in here. Denver, what was that?
Yeah, I thought about them as well.
The offensive performance is really what I'm talking about. Their defense was really good.
You didn't like Bo Picks?
Took a bunch of what did you just say?
Bo Picks. He had 2 of them in the game. My brother-in-law is a huge Bo Nix Denver Broncos fan, so
terrible.
We were chirping him all day yesterday at my niece's birthday party.
He was one of the worst quarterbacks that I watched yesterday.
Yeah, and he was one I was excited about from what he did last year.
And the numbers will not reflect what I'm about to say. I was super impressed by Cam Ward. I thought he was really good yesterday. And he went 12 for 28 for $112 and was sacked 6 times for 50 yards. The numbers look terrible. If you watched the game, though, I really was impressed by what he was able to do. His receivers stink. This team is at least a year away from being any kind of competitive. But Cam Ward, it's only 1 week. We'll see if he's able to sustain this. I was very impressed by some of the process stuff. There was one play, guy coming unblocked, just an unblocked rusher in his face. He's able to change his arm angle, drop the arm in a perfect pass, hit the guy in stride on a slant, just immediately straight into the chest, drops it. Just a terrible play by the receiver, but that was indicative of what he's capable of. Titans could be interesting in a year or two. All right, player that stood out to you from the weekend. T-Bone, who was the player for you that most stood out? Good or bad?
Mine was Justin Fields in the way that he stood out because I saw him over the weekend and went, whoa, okay, they might be able to make this work in New York with him. I was very skeptical when they brought him on board. I really like what we saw from him, and they look like they're actually going to tailor the offense to him, which has been the biggest complaint I've had with Fields when he was with Chicago. It would take them like 6 weeks to go, hey, we probably shouldn't have him drop back and throw a ton. We should have him use his legs and run. If you do that, I think you're going to be fine. Now, is he a guy that's ever going to be top 10 in quarterback? No, probably not, but he should keep you competitive. So he was the one that impressed me the most over the weekend.
Yeah, mine was different, though. Mine's going over to Tampa Bay, Emeka Egbuka.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, everything we talked about when we were talking about the projections for Tampa was they don't have any offense because Godwin's out, and I know they're dealing with some injuries. Man, if Egbuka's going to be like this, they might be offensively when Godwin comes back, which I think they said week 6, what Detroit was last year, to where it's like, man, you've got options everywhere on the field, whether it's Bucky Irvin, whether it's Mike Evans, and now you got Egbuka with Chris Godwin, and then Baker Mayfield's ability to escape the pocket and run. That offense is going to be fun, and I think they might be the ones that get close to winning that division.
Good weekend for some rookies. On the running game, you had Bill Krosky-Merritt. You had R.J. Harvey, who had a really good weekend this week as well for the Denver Broncos. You brought up a receiver there with Emeka Egbuka. I'll throw one more in here. I don't know what his season's going to be, but Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, had a really good game for the Indianapolis Colts as well. I loved him in college. And this is one of those weeks where I was reminded, man, we do all of this stuff for the NFL draft. We see what their combine things are. You get all these interviews, everything like that. Man, sometimes it's, hey, if that dude is dominant at the college level for 3 or 4 years, he's probably going to be pretty good in the NFL. Emeka Egbuka, for 4 seasons at Ohio State, while they had all of these other pros on the team, they are wide receiver U right now in college football. They have all these other dudes that make it to the league. You know who was awesome every year? Emeka Egbuka. Never once did he have a down season. Just always consistent. Tyler Warren last year, dude, they made the whole plane out of him at Penn State all the way to the college football playoff. So those two guys really impressed me over the weekend, and they impressed me all year last year in college football. The final one here, as we go with our NFL weekend wrap-up. What was the performance that made you question your priors that you had going into this weekend, Alex, in a good or a bad way? You thought this team was going to be crap. Maybe they're going to be better. You thought this team was going to be good, and now maybe they're going to be bad. What was for you the performance that made you question your priors going into week 1?
I'll go back to the one you guys talked about a little bit ago. Mine's Denver. I thought Denver was a team that actually could compete for the playoffs and be maybe one that pushes Kansas City and the Chargers a little bit. Not anymore. I mean, they're right back to where I thought they were last year, where I think you're a good team, but you're no more than that. Maybe 8-9 wins. If your quarterback, I can't trust you that way, as great as your defense is, and they really don't have any, difference makers offensively, I don't think they're a very good team compared to what I was at the beginning of the season.
I think I would go San Francisco. I was impressed by their win on the road at Seattle. Their offense looked better than I was expecting. Now, they did lose Kittle, so, that could be in something that ends up changing things a little bit. But I was impressed. I kept saying all year long, hey, I don't get the hype for the 49ers. I don't get it. And then they came out. Defense looked really good against Sam Darnold. And Brock Purdy looked really good in that game as well. So I would say the San Francisco 49ers. Chiefs. Yeah.
Your team going to be 0-2 to start out.
Maybe, they really might.
Maybe 2-4 begin.
Whoa.
So Xavier Worthy gets hurt on the third play from scrimmage when
what the hell, Kelsey?
Travis Kelce shoulder checks him into next week.
The hell, man.
They looked terrible defensively from start to finish. The defensive backs had no clue what was coming. No clue. They were put into a blender by that offense with the Chargers. My hope, and this is purely hope, it's just a weird Brazil game. They had a 2-hour bus drive from their hotel to the stadium. This is all excuses. The receivers right now are hurt by injury with Worthy, hurt by suspension with Rashee Rice, and the defense just might not have the dudes this year. So you need the offense to be able to pick it up. While this defense is trying to figure things out on the fly, well, now you're without 2 of your best pass catchers. And coming up, you have Philly. You're on the road at the Giants. Then you have Baltimore on the road at the Jaguars, who looked really good this week. And then you've got Detroit, and that's finally when you could potentially get Rashee Rice back the following week against Vegas, and now you go into your stretch run. If they can go 3-3 in this 6-week stretch, they're going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to win the division. They'll be just fine. But, man, it's really about, can this defense get to a place where they can get back to the Super Bowl? Right now, I don't know the answer to that question. The Chiefs are going to be really good this year, guys. Like that. Anybody telling you today, like they're going to miss the playoffs, all this, that's totally overreaction from week 1. But there are some real concerns here if we are evaluating them the way that they want to be evaluated, which is at a Super Bowl contending level. So, yeah, there are some serious questions about this Chiefs defense. I thought they were going to be very good coming into the season. I now have more doubt in that regard.
Well, and adding on to that offense, I mean, I didn't think Pacheco had that great of a game. Like, running-wise, the offensive line didn't look as good as we thought. I mean, I know there was concerns about it in terms of the rookie left tackle, but, I mean, there was not a bright spot in that game at all.
Yeah, Mahomes still good.
Mahomes was awesome. Yeah. He was amazing. It was one of the best games I've seen him play in 3 years.
Something out of nothing.
Yeah, he's the only reason, though, that I can look at them and say, like, hey, no need to panic on making the playoffs.
I would add one more. Rashee Rice coming back will change this offense. It will look completely different when Rashee Rice returns. But, yeah, like the next 5 weeks are going to be about survival. Gets a 2-4, gets a 3-3. If you're able to do that, you'll be fine. But it's about keeping your head above water. And that is not something that I've had to say about the Chiefs in, 7 years. It's been a really long time since we've been in that spot. All right, he's Alex, that's T-Bone, I'm BK. That is our NFL weekend wrap-up. Coming up next, in or out here on BK and Ferrario. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out here on BK and Ferrario. Alex, you ready for this one?
Hit me with it.
In or out. Bo Prabula finishes top 5 in the Heisman voting this year.
I know BK's in that wild stuff thing, but I'm going to say why not in.
Don't you talk about me like that.
If you're a great quarterback in the SEC and you're putting up numbers, then you're going to get Heisman votes. So, yeah, I'll say
40 to 1 odds currently. 40 to 1 odds.
I'll take it. I'm in.
Down,
Mizzou's going to be in the college football playoffs. You know why? Because they'll have a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, sure.
In.
Out. Look, Prabula's been great. He's not going to be in top 5 in the Heisman. I love where your head's at. You know, I'm ready to say wild things about the Illini, too.
Luke Altmaier's going to be in the top 5.
That
As
might
of
be
today, who would be in that conversation for you right now?
I mean, Prabula, if you're going
That's
off
the
of
thing.
numbers.
That's what I'm
Look
saying.
at his numbers.
Tell me I'm wrong, T-Bone. Tell me I'm
he would be there
wrong.
now. I'm going to still say that we're going to see other guys kind of float back up there and
Who'd be in
surpass him.
it?
John Mateer would be one of the guys that would
Nussmeier?
be in that conversation. Just based on name recognition, I mean, if we're actually talking about what they've done this year, absolutely not.
Yeah.
He's currently the favorite to win the Heisman.
I was going to say,
which
his
is
numbers
crazy.
are nothing compared to Prabula.
Yeah, I would say John Mateer, the Oregon quarterback, has had a really good start to the
numbers.
season as well. Arch is going to be up there because of name. Same thing for Lenore Sellers, but neither of them
Wide
have done
receiver
anything
from
this
Ohio
year.
State will be high.
Yeah, why am I blanking on his name?
I want to say
Not
Williams, but
Jeremiah Love eventually will be in that.
When they start running them.
Jeremiah Smith, that's what it is.
There you go. Yeah, I was thinking of the kid from Alabama, but he's hurt. But yeah, no, I'm gonna say out.
I'll say out, but give me another month of this.
Hold on. Why am I
start
the only
talking
one in
about
on
it.
this one? I thought he was going to be doing that. Now I feel bad doing that. All right, I'll go off the top 5 list though because
You're the wild stuff, man.
we didn't get this. We didn't get to this last week, but NHL Network put out the top 10 goalies right now and had Bennington at 7. In or out by the end of this upcoming season, Bennington will be top 5.
Out.
I hate you.
Why do we do this?
I hate you.
If you're talking about
Should already be top
playoff
5.
goalies, I would have him in that conversation. If you're talking about regular season goalies, I would not.
Even with an
He is-
improved defense in front of him, huh?
Correct.
He doesn't have to
Maybe.
deal with the trash
He
that was
is-
in front of him for the
he's
last.
Madison Bumgarner of the NFL.
You
or
shut
the
your-
NHL,
you
rather.
shut your mouth.
Here's Madison Bumgarner of the NFL. That would be a lot of fun to watch. Jordan Bennington is excellent in the postseason. That's ultimately what I care about with my goalie. And then give me C+ to B- goaltending in the regular season. I'm good. So, no, I'm not top 5.
I'm with BK. I would say out. I think he's top 10 in the regular season. He's not.
You guys are
top
losers.
5. He's a playoff goalie.
You guys are losers.
Every year there's I guess last year it didn't really happen, but it feels like every year there's a moment where you're like, should they go to Hofer more? I mean, he did lose a job to Husso, who's a minor league goalie at one point in his career. So, I mean, if
Still is a minor league goalie.
okay, so it's hard for me to put him top 10 with that in my background of information.
I'm absolutely in on this, and you should have already been top 5. Although there were there were like 3 or 4 lists going around where one of them had him like 12th, and then the other had him like 17th. So some of these people are wild out there, but in.
Guys, in or out? Illinois will win 10 games this season. First time in program history they'll get back-to-back 10-win seasons.
I'll say in. They did this weekend what I needed to see. They did what I needed to see. So I'll say in.
Yeah, I mean, to do that, you're expecting them to beat Indiana or Ohio State or USC, and I think they can. So, yeah, might as well say in.
I'm saying in
I mean,
as
you saw
well.
the playmakers happen with Beatty, and you got Altmaier, so.
Yeah, I think their schedule is lining up perfectly for this. And I'm still not convinced on USC. They've got that game at home, which makes me feel comfortable. I'll say it with my chest right now. Illinois, 11-1, lone loss, comes at home against Ohio State.
Wow. I mean, I was just thinking we go 1 win between those 3 games. But
All right, let's get to the text line. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. For in or out, you guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out before Katie Wu joins us here in a little more than 5 minutes on the show. In or out, the Blues finished top 3 in the division. Out.
in.
Good on you.
I don't think Colorado's going to be as good as people are making them out to be.
I'm saying in as well. I think somebody falls from that top 3, whether it's
That's
Colorado. I think
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg's possible as well.
Winnipeg's very possible as long as Hellebuck's got to be unreal like usual for them to be there.
I'm saying in.
In or out, Cardinals finished this year above 500. I cannot believe this team is back at 500.
Should we be talking
them,
potential playoff, right?
No.
4.5 out.
Should we blow out another football segment?
Yeah, I mean, they're 4.5 games out.
4.5 out with 4 teams in front of them.
Yeah, but if you do the unthinkable with
You're
these
never
teams.
eliminated until there's a knee by your name.
Yeah. 2011, they did it.
They deserve a lot of credit for this. Them battling their way back in is honestly really impressive.
No, it's not. They're doing the wrong thing, man. You need a good pick.
They're still 9th as of today.
Not good enough.
They're a half game back from 8th.
9th means you're going to potentially get 12th.
Getting Arenado back soon. Brendan Donovan working his way back as well.
What are we doing? Just shut them down. Shut them all down.
I'll say out on they finish above 500. I think they're going to be right at 500. They feel like an 81 team.
You got Milwaukee 2 series. You've got Seattle coming up. And then you got Cincinnati, San Francisco, and Chicago. I think you'll lose all but 2 of those series.
They've won or split 5 of their last 6 series. It's amazing. They've won 7 out of 10 at this point.
What are we doing here?
From the 3-1-4. By the way, I'm out. I think they go just below 500. But the fact that they're even in this conversation is
absurd.
I would say that's the reason that you keep Ollie Marmol as the manager. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
There's no business being here.
Right now, he's hurting you because he's too good a manager.
Yeah, that's true.
In or out, Mizzou basketball will have the #1 recruiting class for 2026. How about that, Alex? It was a big weekend for our Tigers, and they followed it up with a top 25 national recruit in 2026. Tony Bryant is coming to Missouri, or at least he committed to
2 5-stars.
It's a
2 5-stars.
credit where it's due, man. Dennis Gates doing a hell of a job.
Can we just fast forward through 2025 and just get to 2026?
This team might be good.
Yeah, I'll say they'll be solid.
They might be pretty good. Next year is when you can talk about national title aspirations.
I don't
this
want
year
solid.
could be pretty good.
I want dominant.
Yeah, I'll say in though. I think they'll finish with the #1 recruiting class. I mean, it's hard to beat 2 5-stars.
They have 2 top 25 kids. I think they're in on 2 more top 150 kids that are, it seems like, leaning toward Mizzou right now.
What is Dennis Gates doing?
Yeah, I think they get the top recruiting class in 2026.
Money, baby.
With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Katie Woo, Cardinals insider for The Athletic. Our first Cardinal segment of the day, which might be a record for 12:30, joins us next here on 101 ESPN.
This upcoming week is the reason why you need to be using Classic Air Care. You know, we've been enjoying that fall weather where it's like 70 degrees outside. You open up the windows. Well, that HVAC system that wasn't getting a whole lot of work is going to go get that work because it's going to be like 95 this weekend. And this is where these tune-up, these maintenance programs help you out with Classic Air Care. And right now they've got a special going on. It's a super tune-up where you get Classic Air Care out and check both the AC and furnace maintenance for $149 in the month of September. And the maintenance is the most critical piece to keep those HVAC and furnace systems alive. Whether you got a newer one and you want to extend the life of it, or you got an old one and you're just trying to get a few more years out, the maintenance is where it's at because they come out, they clean it, they fine-tune the unit, they make sure that it's going to get you through the upcoming issues. And when you're a part of that maintenance agreement, if you've got issues in between their maintenance tune-ups, you get priority scheduling with Classic Air Care. So call them today, ask them about that super tune-up, and tell them Alex Ferrario sent you. Call them Classic Air Care or schedule online at classicaircare.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals took 2 of 3 from San Francisco over the weekend, and they are out west tonight as they start a 3-game set with the Seattle Mariners. 8:40 will be first pitch. Brian Wu will be on the mound for the Mariners. Miles Michaelis will get the start for St. Louis. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, Monday Night Football for you as the Bears take on the Vikings. Well, pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with kickoff at 7:15. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Pressure was picked up. Chapin, wide open, caught across the middle. Thompson, touchdown!
Oh, that's what it sounded like as Mississippi State pulls off the upset at home against the Arizona State Sun Devils.
What a jerk.
Katie Wu, an Arizona State alum, joins us now via the Callier and Thompson hotline. She's the Cardinals insider for The Athletic. She joins us each and every Monday throughout the Cardinals season. Katie, how you doing today?
No way we're starting the segment off like that. No way.
Katie, hang up the phone. I would not blame you for hanging up the damn phone.
I mean, traumatizing enough because I was talking so much trash in the press box about my no longer ranked Arizona State Sun Devils. Here I go, new week, trying to be an optimist. BK bringing me down.
Katie,
cool.
Katie,
Love that about you guys.
You should have heard it before you picked up the phone. He's like, I'm going to try and make Katie cry. He's like, let's make sure we rub this into her. It's like, I don't like that she brags all the time about Arizona State. He says, I'm going to rub this in so much.
No.
He's spiteful, Katie.
This is just what's great about college football. We, 1 week, feel like we're on top of the world. Mizzou beat Kansas this weekend. And then 2 weeks from now, I could be feeling pretty bad as Mizzou plays against South Carolina at home, a game that I'm going to be attending in person. This is the way that the game is played. Katie, your team struggled this weekend, but you got a college football playoff berth last year, so it's not all that bad.
So that loss doesn't hurt as bad.
So that helps. I think it made it worse, actually. But thank you for that.
I told you, Katie, he went into this segment trying to make you upset.
What was that like?
I don't forget anything, guys. I don't forget anything.
Hell yeah,
so just
Katie.
keep that in mind.
Just remember who your favorite one is of this show.
Can you take us through what Katie Wu, how were you watching this game? What was your experience as you see? I don't really totally understand how it happened, but a 60-yard pass go over the defense after you had taken the lead. What was this like for you as a Arizona State fan?
Well, the odds of my editor listening to this right now are slim, so I'll just go out and say it. I was streaming the game during the Cardinals game, and, it's called multitasking, all right?
Yeah.
And I looked up, and the bases were loaded in the bottom of the ninth for St. Louis, and I was like, I should probably, stop watching the Arizona State game. So that walk-off win escalated very quickly. You go down to post-game. Obviously, I'm not checking my phone or watching the game at that point. I mean, there is some semblance of professionalism at that point of the game. And I come upstairs, and it's tied. And I was telling Tanner before we went on the show, I was like, in the opening drive, I just felt in my bones that this is going to be an Arizona State game, and not in a good way. They seem to have one of these games a year where they just come out and this is not going to end well. So I actually took all my things to the snack room because I had a feeling it was not going to go my way, and I didn't want to disturb the writers working. And it didn't. I almost channeled an Ollie Marmol and frisbeed my iPad out of the window. I was just so upset, especially because I was talking so much trash. So it really humbled me.
Hey.
But that's how it went.
Katie, don't feel too bad. BK was streaming Big Brother on Thursday while his Kansas City Chiefs choked on the field.
They played on Friday night, good sir.
Brother.
They played on Friday night. That is false news. That is not real.
Friday, sorry. No, what wasn't false news was them choking on the field.
That did indeed happen. All right, Katie, let's talk a little bit about the Cardinals. We have not mentioned them today, and it's 12:40, so you'll be the first one to be able to break this thing down for us. What happened for the Cardinals over the weekend? It looked like it was pretty good stuff, winning 2 out of 3 against the Giants and getting, a nice walk-off for Jordan Walker as well.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because when you think about it, the Cardinals are back at 500 for the first time since August 13th, and they've won their last 3 series. And the San Francisco Giants came in on a sick one. They had won 10 of their last 11, and the Cardinals took care of business without Nolan Arenado or Alec Burleson or Brendan Donovan or Wilson Contreras. I mean, with all respect to these players, when you see a lineup that features Mason Wynn at shortstop, Jimmy Crooks in all 10 days of service time as your 5-hole hitter, and Nolan Gorman at first base, you're not feeling super confident that this is the lineup that's going to take 2 of 3 from a hot team, and they did exactly that. So the Cardinals are playing good baseball, and that's a credit to a lot of the players who have stepped up and put themselves in unfamiliar positions that maybe don't completely benefit their skill set. I think the bullpen management has been excellent. We continue to talk about the bullpen regardless of who is actually in it. And what Ollie Marmol and Dusty Blake have done in the late innings has really, I think, exceeded expectations. I personally would have had this team at 500 after the trade deadline. The fact that they are back there again is exciting. Not exactly saying, oh, here comes a Cardinal Devil Magic September run. I am not saying that. I am saying we're seeing good baseball, and there's reason to believe that this team can finish strong in the final 3 weeks of the season. Alec Burleson is back today. We're going to see Donovan and Arenado at some point in the next week or so return to the club. And a big hit for Jordan Walker to come through on Saturday. It's been a very trying week for Walker, as we all know. So for him to have that moment, what really stood out to me that game was the celebration from the team after. Obviously, walk-offs are exciting. You won the game. That's great. But that celebration wasn't just a team celebrating a win. That was a team celebrating Walker, and that really stood out to me in terms of where Walker is and how this organization is behind him after what was a pretty rough week.
Katie, should this success over these last few series for the Cardinals, should that silence the Ollie Marmol questioners or doubters of him being the manager moving forward?
I don't know if that is ever fully going to happen, because that is the nature of managing a professional baseball team, especially one that is mired in its worst run in 30 years. However, I will say that when you look at the expected record, when you look at who the Cardinals have offloaded, who the lack of what they have in AAA, and just the overall state of the organization, they shouldn't be where they are right now. And some of that is on the players for performing. A lot of it is on the coaches for the amount of work that they've put in and how they've managed the games. I know this is all speculation, but I would not be surprised in one bit if Ollie Marmol returns to the Cardinals in 2026 as their manager. He's done objectively a great job in making sure this team can exceed maybe its potential on paper. Really, I think the biggest thing that stands out, again, is the bullpen management, because when you go out and you trade Ryan Helsley and Steven Matz and Phil Maton, and you're left with a bunch of guys with high ceilings but not a lot of experience, it can go sideways really quickly. But the emergences that we're seeing from Jojo Romero, which we knew that he was capable of this, but Kyle Leahy, Matt Swanson, Riley O'Brien, like, these guys are emerging and being, posting almost the exact same success as the first half of the bullpen, and they're doing it on the fly. I mean, Matt Swanson is nasty, and he's kind of my pick for maybe an early closer candidate come 2026. Kyle Leahy could be a starter next year. For all the things that we've talked about pitching-wise for the Cardinals, rightfully so, they are showing that whatever Matt Pierpont is doing, the new director of pitching, and kind of the new regime under Chaim Bloom and Rob Cervolio, is working, because we're seeing better results. And that's a testament to the PD staff, that's a testament to Dusty Blake, and it's a testament to Ollie Marmol for how he's been using these guys.
Katie, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about was Ivan Herrera. In his last 9 games, he's 10 for 30 with 2 doubles and 4 home runs. He had gone a really long stretch of just this power drought prior to that. He was still hitting for a decent amount of average, but the power had completely disappeared. As you talk with him, people around the club, what has led to this power surge by him? Now 6 extra base hits in his last 9 games.
Just Ivan being Ivan. And it sounds simple, but I think that's the best way to talk about Herrera, who is, I think, such an exciting talent with a big future for this organization. And, yeah, there was a little bit of a power drought, but to your point, he was still hitting for average, and the quality of the bats didn't diminish in any way. It was just, the lack of the extra base hit. And we were talking to Ivan last homestand, and that's essentially what he was saying. He's like, I'm still 1 for 4, 2 for 4 each night. I just don't know where the power is. It'll come. And that's kind of where you're seeing these hitters start to mature, because Herrera has now had 2 slumps, really, where he wasn't seeing the kind of power numbers that he wanted to. And this slump, the second time, nothing changed about his demeanor. He came in and he was confident, he was prepared, he wasn't stressing that the results weren't going his way, because he knew that he was going to hit out of it. Your favorite baseball player is going to slump, whether it's Bryce Harper, whether it's Shohei Ohtani, whether it's Aaron Judge. They're going to hit ruts over the course of a 162-game season. We know this. For young players, it can feel like the end of the world. For Herrera, the second time where it was 3-ish weeks without really a homer, without that power like you mentioned. He didn't freak out. He didn't change his approach. He just stuck with it, and eventually it turned. That's exciting because, to me, that's a sign of a player who really trusts where he is mentally and where he is physically at the plate. And when you think about what the Cardinals need from Herrera, it's right-handed power, and he got right back on track in doing so.
Katie, you excited to see the big dumper this week?
I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to ask her if she's excited to see the American League MVP.
I just wanted to say the big dumper.
I know.
I knew exactly why you wanted to say that. Actually, so I've never been to Seattle before. This is my 27th stadium, so we're almost to 30. And I'm very excited to just see an American League team that I honestly don't get to see a lot of, just being on the West Coast and the time difference in the American League, all of that. So I'm excited to see what the Mariners are doing. I'm excited to see what the Cardinals are going to do. Having Burleson back, Contreras is back tomorrow. They'll have some official transactions later today. Garrett Hansen DFA'd. Nick Rackett, what a cool moment for him. From indie ball to the show, he has been added to the 40-man roster and will be on the 26-man roster later today under Guineo's option to Memphis. So lots of little storylines to keep in mind, and I guess we can keep entertaining the standings, mainly because, again, I just don't trust the Mets. Well, look. We all know where I stand on this deal, right? But it's fun to look and not be, totally oh, wow, they're 10 games under. They're not. They've done a nice job of getting back to 500 when everything suggested that they should.
Well, yeah, but they're failing, Katie. They're supposed to be getting a good pick right now.
They're still 9th. It's fine.
No, top 5.
Draft lottery, don't worry. They're still eligible. Everything's good.
Yeah. I said this earlier, Katie. I will give them all the credit in the world. They deserve it because I left them for dead, that's for sure, and they're back to 500, and that's they have the same record as the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are objectively a much better baseball team than the Cardinals. So full credit to them, full credit to Ollie Marmol. Before we get you out of here, do you know anything about what's going on with J.J. Weatherholt? He's missed, I think, 4 straight games at the AAA level. Is there anything that Cardinals fans need to know about that?
Yeah, I checked on it yesterday, just general soreness, but shouldn't be anything too concerning. If he's not in the lineup again on Tuesday, then I will actually double check again and make sure that I'm not being, brushed aside. But my understanding is that this is nothing serious, just some soreness, and he'll be back in action early this week. Excuse me.
Well, appreciate the heads up there. We appreciate the time. Enjoy yourself out in Seattle. I've never been myself. My wife went a couple of years ago, said it's one of her favorite cities in America. So enjoy yourself out there. We'll talk with you again next week, Katie.
You got it, guys. Talk to you later.
See you, Katie.
That's Katie Wu joining us as she does each and every Monday here on BK and Ferrario. Appreciate her time as always here on the show. Have you been to Seattle before?
I have not.
My
cousin lived there for a few years.
I've not been either. I want to go, though.
That's one of the spots. Seattle, a Seattle plus Vancouver trip. Yeah. Man, that's on the bucket
cousin
list.
lived there for 4 years when he was in the military, and he said that it literally does rain 365 days a year.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with rain.
It's cloudy and rainy.
Better weather, though, overall. The 20 degrees in the winter and the 150 degrees in the summer.
Yeah,
you don't get that a whole lot.
95 degrees.
Yeah,
This is the fake fall. Yeah, well, I closed my pool over the weekend, and now it's going to turn green.
Yeah, this weekend,
Pisses
90
me
on
off.
Friday, 91 on Saturday, 90 on Sunday, 86 on Monday, and then BK returns on Tuesday, back down to 83.
Hell yes.
Back down to 83.
I am not looking forward to that type of weather.
Let's check in on Vermont.
Oh, that's got to be beautiful this time of year, I would think.
Burlington, Vermont.
Outside
On
being
Friday,
Vermont.
high of 70. Saturday, high of 73. Sunday, high of 72.
You better bring your jacket. You're going to get cold.
Just give me just keep me in the low 80s, high 70s.
This is
I'm done.
perfect. I got
I'm
the
done with the
windows on
90s.
Sunday, high of 70, and then on Monday, high of 70 as well. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. Just completely avoiding all of the 90-degree weather.
Yeah, I'm gonna really, really book my next trip to Vermont because of that weather.
Coming up in 15 minutes, how did this weekend's game change your opinion for the ceiling on both Mizzou and Illinois, if at all? We'll get into that in 15 minutes, but next time for the Junk Drawer here on 101 ESPN. Alex and T-Bone on BK. Let's dive into the junk drawer. Have you ever thought, Alex, about what you would do if you win the lottery?
Thought about it, yes, but I try not to think about it too much because I always tell myself, in that sense, I try not to change the way that we lived so that you can set your family up for the future.
T-Bone, have you thought about it before?
See, that's smart. Yeah. Now, if I think about it, I'd look for a nice house. Yeah.
Where would you want to live?
Oh, that's a good question.
You've got hundreds of millions of dollars in your bank account as of...
See, I don't think I'd change where I live now.
Across the country or in St. Louis?
I mean, you could choose where you want to live, dude. If you got that kind of money, that's FU money. You never have to work again.
I don't think I would change where I live now. I would just have a house somewhere as a vacation spot. I would have a spot, either, Katie and I have always said, either Table Rock Lake, which is one of our favorite spots, Branson, or in Michigan. That's where we go in the summertime.
I really loved... out by Tybee Beach.
Yeah.
That was I was not expecting to enjoy that as much as I did.
Is that Savannah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Savannah, Georgia.
Tybee Island is awesome.
It's kind of hot there, so maybe it's a little too much. But
but in the fall and springtime, man, that's fun.
Yeah, I think I would go there.
I would probably live in San Diego,
Burlington, Vermont.
Have a spot in San Diego.
Vermont.
We'll see. I'll find out this week, and I'll let you know next week. The reason I bring this up is because an Alabama woman says that if she won the Powerball, she knows exactly how she would spend it. Take a listen. This comes from WHNT in Alabama.
I tell you exactly what I'd do with the first $70 million. I'd pay off Kalen DeBoer and get him the heck out of the University of Alabama, and then I'd take whatever else it took to get rid of the AD. I'd give him my church money. I don't know how much of what I'd have, after I paid my taxes, but I'm sure I'd have plenty with this kind of deal. But I know I'm not going to win. I just hope I win some scratch-offs. I just do it for the fun.
Oh, my gosh. First of all, total Alabama saying I got to get the church money first.
Yep. That is Susie.
Getting rid of the football coach.
And then getting rid of the football coach.
From Guntersville,
Susie,
Alabama.
Don't spend your money on that. Don't spend your money on that.
That is SEC football.
Alabama was probably like, yes, please win the money. We'd love that money.
That is college football at its finest. What are you going to do with the winnings? What's your plan, I'm going to go buy a house. I'm going to travel the world.
I'm getting Kalen DeBoer's ass out of
I'm going to set my kids up for success, as Alex Ferrario just mentioned. Nah, man. I'm going to give to the church, and I'm going to buy out Kalen DeBoer, and just for good measure, get that AD's ass out of here as well.
I'm getting DeBoer's ass out of Alabama. Yeah. That's not the way I would spend my money, but go for it.
God bless her. That is the way that she wanted to spend it. Did I see this? Somebody from Missouri won the lottery this Powerball?
Yeah, well, I saw the news report this morning that said they're deciding if they're going to remain anonymous or not. I don't even know why that's a decision. You always remain
anonymous. One in
anonymous.
One in Missouri, $1.8 billion. So $900 million, I believe.
Yeah, remain anonymous. Remain anonymous.
Whew. Yeah, I would not want to be known.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
would you want to be known?
I was thinking about it. No.
I
don't even like being known now. I'm a guy to myself.
There's no way. I don't need people coming out of the woodwork asking for money. No way.
I agree.
I try and maintain the same level, the lifestyle, have money available if I need it. But, there will also be signs that I have
Harvard.
Some dumb money.
Yeah. Go to an Ivy League.
Have a jet ski in the middle of St. Louis. What do you have that for? No reason. No reason.
Summer, we go out to the lake. It's great.
Yeah. You don't have a lake house.
Spot. Yeah, you have a lake house.
We do.
Table Rock.
You work sports talk radio. Oh, yeah.
We go over to the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Just ride them up there.
We do the Missouri River, Jefferson County.
With Alex and T-Bone on BK. Coming up next, how did this weekend's game change your opinion for the ceiling on both Illinois and Mizzou, if at all? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN.
Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over as DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon here to the Show Me State. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. As new Missouri customers can download that DraftKings Sportsbook app, and when they go live, just place a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when they go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
It's Hank Beatty, who keeps it himself and has a lane inside the 10. Touchdown, Illinois!
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. That is what it sounded like as Illinois got the win over the weekend on the road at Duke. Full disclosure, I did not predict that. I didn't predict much of anything that happened correctly over the weekend.
That's right.
But the Illini struggled in the first half. They couldn't get the running game going. Defense just looked okay for the most part. And then in the second half, they totally took over. Completely dominated that game, especially through the air. Kudos to the Illini. They looked the part of a college football playoff contender with that win on the road at Duke over the weekend. Alex, I do want to have a conversation here about both of the local schools. Mizzou, Illinois, both with big wins over the weekend. T-Bone, let's start out with your Illini, because we started today with my Mizzou Tigers, and we'll start out now with your Illinois Fighting Illini. How much did that game, that win, that performance, change your impression of the ceiling for Illinois this year?
See, it didn't change much for me because I've said steadfast all season long, hey, to me, they should be a college football playoff contender this year in terms of getting there, and that they should be probably a 10-win squad. And I think I said, 9 wins or less than 9 wins would be a disappointing season, and BK got all upset at me for saying it. He said, get realistic expectations, T-Bone. And I'm staying with my gut here. I thought they could be a 10-win team and be putting themselves in the conversation for the college football playoff. I don't think a lot changed for me over the weekend. And if anything, it was more of it just kind of confirmed what I had previously thought, that they are a playoff caliber football team.
It changed for me a little bit because I didn't think they had a elite weapon with Altmaier to make their offense a difference maker. And now that I've seen what Hank Beatty can do and what Luke Altmaier can do, I do think they can win 10 games, because you're talking about that 10th win against Indiana. And I think after watching that offense perform against Duke, who's not Indiana, but they're still a really good team. I think that offense is better than what Indiana can put out there defensively. And so now you're talking about a 10-win team. So it's changed my expectations for them.
So that's the thing for me, Alex. I'm glad you brought up Indiana because it's a comparable opponent to what you just saw with Duke in some ways. They both have good quarterbacks. That's really where everything begins for Duke, and it's where everything begins for Indiana this year as well. I think Indiana will be a little better coached, personally. I'm also not sure they have the defense that Duke potentially had coming into that game, though. Manny Diaz is a very good defensive mind, and he gives people trouble with the way that his teams game plan for you. Luke Altmaier had answers, though, from start to finish, and that's, to me, why I'm going to change my impression of what their ceiling is this year. Luke Altmaier just looks like he's taken a step forward. He looks like a better version of the quarterback that we saw a year ago. And so, yeah, they don't have Pat Bryant anymore. It doesn't seem as though that's going to matter. So when you have a quarterback that might be top 3 or 4 in your conference, top 15-ish in the country right now, I don't know what Luke Altmaier's future is in the NFL, but I know right now at the collegiate level, guy's as good as it gets pretty much for the most part in college football. That changes things for me. So my ceiling for them has improved pretty dramatically from what I thought it was to where it could be now. It's both playing the schedule game and also just, hey, Illinois is good. Their running game stinks, though. And that is something that I do wonder about. And T-Bone, we can get into this. We talked at the beginning of the day. Mizzou's good. Their ceiling is really high. We'll see what happens with the South Carolina
playoff team.
Mine's like 9-10 wins now for them.
What's your biggest concern for these two programs? For me, T-Bone, on the Missouri side of things, I'm worried about the pass rush combined with the secondary. The two work hand in hand. If you have a really good pass rush, that can make up for a lackluster secondary because they don't have to cover as long. Because you're getting to the quarterback so quickly, they got to get it out right now, and that allows your defense, secondary-wise, to be able to navigate things a little easier. If you have an elite secondary but not a great pass rush, it allows your pass rushers to get home later, gives them more time. When you have neither a great pass rush nor a great secondary, both can potentially be exposed. And that's one of the things for Mizzou. I don't really know what to make of their pass rush this week. It didn't look great in week 1. It was underwhelming to me. And then this week, because they went up against somebody in Jalen Daniels that is as good with his legs as he is with his arm, I do wonder if some of this was a game plan specific thing, where they didn't want to get out of their rush lanes and then have Jalen Daniels running 40 yards behind them. So was this by design that they did not get a ton of pass rush on Jalen Daniels? I don't know. It's something that I'm still curious about, and I'm not sure when we're going to find that out because this week they're not going to find anything out really against Louisiana. Next week they've got Lenora Sellers. It might be the exact same game plan as it was against Jalen Daniels. We might be waiting until like week 6, week 5 before we really learn about the Mizzou defensive line and their pass rush, which goes back to the secondary. They've got to be better on the back end. They have to be better at eliminating those big plays. They crushed them with that this weekend against Kansas. It's the only reason the game was close, because they did better than Kansas at every other area of the game.
Good for Mizzou. Their real test on the pass rush will be against Alabama.
Yeah.
Because it won't be UMass.
No.
And if they're not doing it against Sellers in South Carolina, well, good luck. You get the test on Alabama. Which I say good luck kind of tongue-in-cheek because Alabama's not as good as they've been in the past.
Yeah, I've got the same concern for Missouri as you guys do because I thought the pass rush was supposed to be dominant. And when I see something that looked somewhat concerning in that first game of the season where they didn't look as dominant, it feels kind of telling. And look, I understand what you're saying of, hey, look, maybe it was part of the game plan trying to contain them. You also got to get to him, though, still, even if it is a running quarterback. You still have to get to that guy in the backfield and create those havoc plays. That is one thing that I definitely have my eye on that I'm concerned about. Because offensively, I thought the offensive line looked better in that game against Kansas. Agreed. I saw from Pro Football College that Caden Green had an excellent week last week, didn't allow any pressures. So that's an encouraging sign. So it's the defensive line for them. For Illinois, I think their biggest concern is what you brought up. It's the running game. I would circle the O-line as the concern for me because the O-line was getting shoved around by Duke, and that's what had them struggle with the running game. I don't fully get their love for Caden Fagan. He's a big guy. That's about it. And then, there were times, too, the O-line got worked. Like, J.C. Davis is a fifth-year senior on that left tackle spot, and he did not look good in that game against Duke. And that was one of my concerns. I brought this up in the offseason when we would talk about it. We say, hey, Illinois got the most returning production. I go, yeah, that's great, but I wasn't that big a fan of the O-line last year, and that's the thing people are getting excited about. that's the unit for me that has to play better because they were the reason that the running game had its struggles against Duke.
He's T-Bone, that's Alex, I'm BK. That's your update on Mizzou and Illinois, both with big wins over the weekend. Mizzou getting the win in the border war and the Illini getting the win that I did not foresee. T-Bone very much did on the road at Duke, and not only getting the win, but doing so convincingly against the Duke Blue Devils on the road. So big win for them. Update for you guys on the college football side of things for Mizzou versus South Carolina. This was just announced a little bit ago. Mizzou is expected to be the night game against South Carolina. It will be either like 6 or 6:30, but we do not know for certain right now. That'll be updated this time next week, depending on the results of this weekend's games. My guess is if South Carolina wins this weekend against Vanderbilt, you'll probably see Mizzou versus South Carolina on main ABC, 6:30 that night. That'll be the night game on ABC. And potentially, depending on how things shake out this week, could be the college game day game as well in Columbia. We'll see on that, but that is all at least in play right now because Missouri's taking care of business. We'll see if South Carolina is able to take care of theirs. Coming up next, NFL Quick Hitters here on BK and Ferrario. With Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Let's dive into some NFL quick hitters. We've done a lot of football today, man. This felt so good.
We've done one Cardinals segment, and I've just been a really happy person today.
Don't you miss it?
No. And you know what? In a week, we're going to be talking Blues, so it's the best time of the year.
We have not mentioned this game yet. It was very close. It was not a game that I think a lot of people expected to be close. What'd you make of the Bengals yesterday?
Well, their defense proved us wrong, right? They can shut down Joe Flacco, and that's a highly touted offense.
Cleveland outgained them. You know, Cincinnati offense.
What I made of it is Joe Burrow's probably asking for help on the offensive line for how much Myles Garrett lit him up.
Garrett was a beast.
God, he was so good. I mean,
what do I do with that? 17 points against the Browns?
They just looked off, but I mean, I wasn't joking. Like, their offensive line allowed a lot of pressure from Cleveland, which isn't supposed to be that scary of a defense.
Jamar Chase with 25 yards.
The running game looked the best part of them. I can't judge too much on that offense, so I don't think it's going to be that bad. It was the first game. I think I was more looking at how their defense was going to play. And, I mean, I know it's Joe Flacco, but I still expected Joe Flacco in that offense to put up 30-plus. So at least they were somewhat better than what they were last year.
Threw for nearly 300 yards.
Yeah.
We're talking about like 100-years-old Joe Flacco. I don't know.
Yeah, Joe Flacco nearly carried his team to the playoffs a few years ago.
Watching him run outside the pocket.
He did carry them to the playoffs, and then he exploded.
Yeah.
Imploded. Like 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about that defense after watching Flacco move the ball fairly well against them, and they should have beat them. I think they got a chance to take the lead on a field goal and missed late. The offense is the one that I just don't know what to make of because they constantly have slow starts, and I thought they were trying to avoid that. That's why they played a lot of the preseason, and yet they still didn't look like they were ready, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it's going to be another typical Bengals year. Defense sucks. Joe Burrow will figure it out with the offense, and they'll be like 9-8 and maybe make the playoffs.
Really curious to see their game next week. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars next week. That should be a telling one for both sides. I have some question marks on both of those teams. I liked what I saw this weekend from Jacksonville. I didn't love that. Didn't love that showing at all for Cincinnati. Like I said, they played more of the preseason this year. They were supposed to get off to a better start, and it just looked off. I didn't love what I saw in that one. All right, Steelers versus the Jets. We mentioned the Jets earlier today. Justin Fields, I think, might be the next Baker Mayfield. And what I mean by that is not stylistically or anything like that. I've always liked Justin Fields, and I've been a believer that eventually he's going to work out somewhere. It has not worked out thus far. He might have found his spot. Now, this is definitely something that could come back to haunt me because it's a week one overreaction, but he might have found his spot in the Jets. I liked the fit there. We have not mentioned the Steelers in that game who actually, won it. What do you guys think of Aaron Rodgers?
I thought he looked fine, but it's one of those games that, cool, you threw for 4 touchdowns and you looked okay, but I still have zero faith in you being good all season. Like, that one felt more like if there was a game this season that Aaron Rodgers was going to step his game up, it was going to be against the Jets. The rest of the season, I don't know. Now, they've got some fun playmakers. Like, DK Metcalf looked awesome once again. I really liked Jalen Warren in that game. They've got weapons. I just don't trust the quarterback, and I won't trust the quarterback.
I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was all that impressive. I thought, he was accurate, but I've known Aaron Rodgers is accurate. He did not like getting hit. He got sacked 4 different times in that game.
When you're 43.
I don't blame him. Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
Go back to a dark
almost everything that he did was after the catch.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a great offense, and the scheme design allows for that. That's possible. But I would rather be wrong on this and be hesitant than buy into it and then see next week, oh, yeah, actually it was just kind of they had a good game plan for the Jets. I don't think that's going to work to the same degree against Seattle. A couple of weeks from now against Minnesota, then they've got the Browns. I think this offense is going to come back to earth relatively quickly. But good win for them in week 1. I picked the Jets, so
I also didn't like the defense giving up 30-something points to that team.
Yeah,
that's bad.
That was my thing. I was more taken aback by the Jets defense than I was like, oh, wow, Aaron Rodgers looked really impressive. Like the drive that ended up where they kick a 60-yard field goal, by the way, 60 yards to take the lead. Was he threw a ball that was like past Metcalf, goes off Metcalf's hands, he falls, it doinks off someone else, and he rolls and catches it. Like, there was some luck involved. I thought that was a more telling performance from the Jets defense, which I thought was going to be pretty good this year, than it was, oh, wow, Aaron Rodgers is back, because BK's right. He didn't, like, have a play that he, like, took the top off the defense, and boom, there go the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. Big game last night. We talked about this from the betting side of things. It went poorly for me, in case you didn't know. The Bills, Man, I could not believe they won that game for a million different reasons, but it did feel like one of those games where I was thinking to myself, man, the Ravens have severely outplayed the Bills this entire game. And it's still a one-score game. The Bills just keep hanging around. It just had this weird vibe to it. And then once he fumbled, you could feel it coming. Mm-hmm. You could feel the Bills finding a way to win that one. Man, the Ravens just seem to do this. I saw a stat the other day. If you're looking, I think it's over the last 5 years. The Ravens with John Harbaugh have the most fourth quarter wins that become losses of any team in the NFL. And some of that's because they win a lot. Like, they're just always winning in the fourth quarter, so you have more opportunities to lose those games than many of the other teams that are just never winning. So, yeah, they lose because they were down the entire game. What do you make of the Ravens and how they found a way to lose that game? It felt very much like what we see from them in the playoffs.
I mean, that's just why I never will trust this team. In terms of ball security and making the right play, that's where they always seem to falter. Like in a tight game where if you think that team should just kill the game, there's always one thing that goes wrong. And whether it's bad luck with the ball coming out of Derrick Henry's hands, which never happened, or when the quarterback has the ball in his hands, he doesn't keep security of it. The one difference in that game to me was the quarterback, because when Josh Allen had it with the game on the line, you just felt he was going to drive down the field. If that was Lamar Jackson on the opposite side, I would not have had that same faith that game was going in the direction of the Ravens.
The Ravens have now lost 8 games since 2021 in which they had at one point a 90% chance to win. That's more than any other team by 3. No other team has 5 such losses.
Didn't they lose that game in week 1 last year against the Chiefs?
Yeah, but that one was different. They didn't have the lead like this.
No, I thought they lost it in the sense of like it was a late second play to where the Ravens just couldn't make the final play.
They were just out of bounds. Remember,
it was the foot on the line.
Toe was on the line.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I have no idea what to make of that struggle, because it's not like I look at their coach and go, oh, they don't have a good head coach.
I'm with you.
Harbaugh's a great, excellent football mind. They've got really good playmakers. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if it's one of these things where, boy, it's happened so much, as you point out by the numbers there, that like they just get kind of antsy, get a little bit scared. They start playing on their heels a little bit, thinking, oh, boy, here we go again. We've got to make that one big play, and then they overdo something. Like Henry dropping the ball last night feels more of like bad luck than anything. That guy holds onto the ball and he's built like a tank. I don't know what to make of it. I truly don't, because they are a better football team than what we've seen in their collapses the last couple of years.
I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I thought they looked great for most of the night. Like for 50 minutes, I thought they looked like the clear-cut best team that I saw this weekend. And then in the final 10 minutes, they looked like the worst. So I don't know what to do with that. I would also say this. God, Josh Allen's good, man. Oh, my God.
That was an MVP performance right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is the only quarterback in the league, and I say this with all due respect to my guy in Kansas City. He's the only quarterback in the league that finishes that game the way that he did. He just has so many different ways that he can beat you. His arm, his legs. It's absurd. That guy it's the modern day equivalent to Peyton Manning and what I saw growing up. They could not be more different in the way that they go about it stylistically, but similar to how Peyton Manning, he put up these crazy numbers, and in the regular season you watch him, you're like, there's no way this guy's going to lose in the playoffs this time around. And he always did. He always found a way to lose in the playoffs until he didn't. And then things clicked for him. They went to the Super Bowl and they won it that year. And then eventually we all remember now Peyton Manning as a winner in the playoffs. That's going to happen for Josh eventually, man. This guy's too good not to get his.
Wow, and this might be depending on what happens with the Chiefs the rest of the way. I mean, his kryptonite is always the Chiefs, and if they're a little bit more vulnerable than what they've been in the past, could be the perfect path for Josh Allen.
Defense still scares me for them because, like, they looked soft against the running game. Now, Ed Oliver was a freaking nightmare.
Bosa got better as that game went on. Now, he can't stay healthy.
He stinks against the run, man. Both Bosa brothers, they have a kryptonite against the run, and the Bills have some issues at safety as well that got exposed in that game, and I think will continue to be exposed throughout the season. I don't know how much it matters when your offense is potentially going to score 40 every week.
And you can always try and make an upgrade at the trade deadline at some point. If you're them, look at it and say we need to fix one area, and it's secondary.
All right, we talked about the Packers-Lions game earlier today. The other big one in that 3 o'clock slate was the Texans versus the Rams. T-Bone, what did we learn in this game? I'm sure you had your eyes on this one almost exclusively. I was watching a lot of the Packers versus the Lions. So what did you learn about the Texans and the Rams, both teams that are going to be heard throughout the season as potential contenders.
Yeah, I think for the Texans, I think you nailed it earlier. Look, their O-line is going to be a problem. I mean, it was like a 50% pressure rate on that game on C.J. Stroud. Stroud's a good quarterback. He's not going to be able to get to that next level if you're not able to protect him, right? Like, he can make some good throws, and he did in that game, and he gave them a chance to win that. And if I'm just being honest for the Rams, I think it was mostly rust offensively. Matthew Stafford doesn't play in the preseason because of I'm going to do this because, quote-unquote, back injury, air quotes there, because they ran a quarterback sneak with him. If they were worried about Matthew Stafford's back, they're not running a quarterback sneak with him. I think the Rams are going to be fine. I think Devontae Adams is going to help open the offense up.
He looks good yesterday.
He looked really good. He looks better than what they had at Cooper Kupp. Kupp was kind of a corpse of himself by the end of last year. I think that offense is going to be really good. Defensively, we'll see. It was encouraging to see them get in the face of the Texans, but I think that was more about the Texans' O-line.
Did you see what Kupp did or didn't do yesterday for the Seahawks?
Yeah. He looked like 2 for 15 or something.
He looked rough.
JSN had a great game for them.
He was awesome.
But he was the only weapon that did anything for them in the passing game.
He was great, minus that fumble.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Fumble wasn't a good move.
I liked what I saw from the Rams, but only to a degree. That I think the offense is good. I think the Texans have a very good defense. We said this last year in the playoffs after they played against the Chiefs. That defense is, legit playoff / championship caliber. They make it really hard on your offense. But God, I don't like Nick Chubb as the lead back. He's not that at this point in his career. Nico did almost nothing yesterday. And that was surprising to me because the Rams don't have very good defensive backs. Wow. That's the biggest concern for them. But they couldn't get him open on those deep crossing patterns that he thrives on. They didn't have time. C.J. Stroud was on his back by the time that they were able to make that thing work. So I just have serious questions about the Houston offense. It's what led me to the Jaguars as the winner in that division this year. That was a weird one for them yesterday. Did you guys have anything else? Big takeaway from the weekend, whether it be NFL at large, a specific team, a specific player. What was your other biggest takeaway, Alex, from the weekend in the NFL?
It kind of piggybacks off what you guys were talking about with the Rams. I think, once again, the best team in the NFC West is still the 49ers. Which I was really hopeful that we'd see another team kind of dethrone them because I just don't trust Brock Purdy. But Cardinals, that was an embarrassing win considering you let Spencer Rattler and the Saints almost win that one. You guys just talked about the Rams, and the Seahawks underwhelmed considering I thought they were going to have a significantly improved roster. So, the NFC, to me, you've got 2 really good teams in the East. You've got potentially 3 really good teams in the North. I think you only got one in the NFC West, and it's probably going to be the 49ers or the Rams.
One game we haven't mentioned, and I don't know what to make of it, so that's why I'm bringing it up here, looking for answers. Patriots, Raiders, Raiders offense looked pretty good. They put up 20. I thought the defense was going to be bad. And, in fact, the Patriots offense looked worse.
Yeah, I think the Patriots offense just might be bad.
That's kind of where I'm leaning.
Stephon Diggs being the lead receiver on a team that has success. When does that happen?
But I was a little bit kind of questioning, okay, maybe is the Raiders defense going to be better than I thought, or was it about the Patriots? That offense looked like what I expected from Geno Smith and the guys because they looked really good against New England. Also didn't mention the NFC South matchup between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. That's going to be a fun division this year. Penix looked awesome, by the way.
Yeah. I thought he looked really good as well. The Falcons just made too many little mistakes late, but that was a close game. That was a close, tightly contested game throughout. I think both of those teams are going to be battling for 10, maybe 11 wins, and the winner of that, I think, is going to be the winner in that division. On the Patriots versus the Raiders game, both of those teams were kind of my heartthrob throughout the offseason. I'm like, this is the year for one of them. And then as we got to the end, I kept looking at it. I kept thinking to myself, man, the Raiders defense I don't trust, and the Patriots offense feels like it's a year away. I think they still need some more weapons. They definitely need to upgrade that offensive line. It was not a very good day for their left tackle, Will Campbell, who they got in the first round this year. So Patriots still have more work to do on the offensive side of the ball. Raiders look solid. Raiders look solid in that one. I think that there's what I thought they were going into the season. 7, maybe an 8-win team, friskier than I expected. We'll see what happens with the Broncos, but maybe the Broncos and the Raiders end up flipping in that division. But I'm not totally out on the Broncos yet. That defense still looked quite good. My biggest thing, offense. Where are you at? Where's the offense in the NFL? Outside of that game on Sunday night, the offense has stunk it up this weekend. NFL unders went 11-1 prior to the late night game. Overall, this was prior to, again, the late night game where this skews things a little bit. With 2 games left in week 1, it was on pace to be the lowest scoring week 1 since 2010. I believe that will change now with 80 points scored last night. But overall, offense around the league was down quite a bit yesterday. I don't know that it's something that'll sustain, but it was definitely a trend that was noteworthy.
You see, I'm not surprised by that because that's kind of been a theme over the last couple of years where offense gets off to slow starts through like the first 4 weeks. You're seeing teams that don't play their guys in the preseason. That's what I said about the Rams, right? I think the Rams would have done better against the Texans defense, though I think it's good. I think they would have looked better if they had played in the preseason. They get some more time under the belt. Offense is going to be fine. I'm not surprised. I like unders a lot through the first 4 weeks of the NFL season.
Kind of feels like the opposite of what the NHL is, where goalies take such a slow time and the offense thrives in the first couple of weeks. The NFL always seems to have these low-scoring ones.
He's Alex, that's T-Bone, and I'm BK. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll hit the rewind. But next, what the hell are we supposed to make of this late-season surge by the Cardinals? Do we care about it at all? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. It's time to unlock your inner champion. That means something different for you than it does for me, and all of us can get help with Victory Men's Health. They'll help you unlock your inner champion. Check them out today. They have 4 great locations across the St. Louis area: O'Fallon, Missouri; O'Fallon, Illinois; Sunset Hills; and the one that I personally go to, the location in Town and Country. When you go over there, they can help you out with whatever it means for you to unlock your inner champion. It may be low testosterone symptoms that you've been feeling. It may be weight loss goals that you're trying to meet. Maybe it's erectile dysfunction. They can help you out with that over at Victory Men's Health. It's an incredibly easy process to book that first appointment. Go online, victorymenshealth.com. That's victorymenshealth.com. When you get there, put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. The locations are absolutely stunning when you walk inside. Some of these places you walk in, it's dimly lit, it's the white walls, feels almost like a hospital. That's not the vibe that they're going for at Victory Men's Health. So check them out today. They'll help you unlock your inner champion. victorymenshealth.com. That's victorymenshealth.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here, the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals took 2 of 3 from the San Francisco Giants over the weekend. They head out west as tonight they start a 3-game set at the Seattle Mariners. 8:40 will be first pitch. Miles Michaelis on the mound for St. Louis. Brian Wu will get the start for Seattle. And tonight here on 101 ESPN Monday Night Football for you as Bears take on the Vikings. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 with kickoff at 7:15. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
The Cardinals have won 7 out of 10. They have won or split 5 of their last 6 series. They just took 2 out of 3 against a red-hot San Francisco Giants team. It did not go well for them on Friday night, but then on Saturday and Sunday, they found a way to do it without Brendan Donovan, without Wilson Contreras, without Alec Burleson, without Nolan Arenado.
Oh, man, Heim's going to tear this team down to the studs and make the playoffs. That's what he's learning.
The Cardinals are back to 500. They're 72-72 on the season, and I don't know how much anybody cares about this. So I'm going to go ahead and ask 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. YouTube chat is available for you at youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. What the hell are we supposed to make of this? Do you guys care? Does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel worse? How are you viewing this right now, Alex, as the Cardinals have found a way to get back to 500? They're playing some really solid ball lately.
Well, originally I saw that they won the series against the Giants, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You're supposed to be losing. You're supposed to be getting that really good pick right now. Like, that's the whole point. But then as you sit down, it's like, look, at least they have somewhat of a winning DA in some of their players. Ivan Herrera going off is a really good thing for the Cardinals down the stretch because we were a little uncertain there when he went cool. And we talked about this earlier in the show. I think it speaks more into the coaching staff of what they have. That for as bad as this team is on paper, you're still 500. And you're beating some teams that are supposed to be better than you. Like you beat up on the Reds who were better than you. Well, they're about 500 right now, so it tells you where you're at. You took down the Giants team. They're supposed to be better than you. Well, you beat them down. Like the fact that they can squeeze the amount of juice that they're getting from this team without those guys that you just mentioned and you're 500, you at least have to be feeling very confident about what your coaching staff is compared to what you thought it was maybe last year at this time.
Yeah, I look at this and I say, this is just a fluke from what they are doing right now. Because I think a lot of these series, and to their credit, they're taking care of business. A lot of these are like 50-50 series. And what I mean by that is, when I look back at their recent series, Miami, Tampa, and Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Athletics, San Fran, they're all the Spider-Man mean. They're all basically the same team. And I thought, okay, they'll probably go about 500 in this stretch. And to their credit, they've done a little bit better. They're going to lose 2 or 3 to Seattle. They're going to lose 2 or 3 to Milwaukee. Those teams are clearly and significantly better than them. Right now, it's the Cardinals just kind of jockeying with these middling teams that are in like that 15 to 20 range when you're taking a look at some of the worst teams in baseball. I don't think you should make anything of this. I think it is bad teams going against each other, 500 teams going against each other, and they end up being the hotter team at the time and getting out of it.
It's the bullpen. That's what this is. It's Ivan Herrera got hot. Burleson before that was pretty good, and your bullpen's been fantastic. Matt Swanson, since August 18th, 12 innings, 0.7 ERA. Jojo Romero in that stretch, 11 innings, has not allowed a run. Kyle Leahy has a sub-2 ERA in this stretch. Gordon Graceffo has an ERA of 3.5. He's striking out the world during this stretch as well. Like, your bullpen has been great, and that's not to mention Riley O'Brien, who's been really good as well. That's the difference for the Cardinals right now, is they are getting not just good bullpen arms, Swanson, Romero, Leahy, Graceffo, O'Brien, those 5 individuals, whenever they're available, have been locked down for you. And many of them go multiple innings. So you're able to get through 5 with your starter, go 5, give up 3, whatever. You get to the bullpen, you lock it down, and you win 4-3. Boom, game over. And that's probably going to have to be the formula again next year. I have been encouraged by Ivan Herrera. I think this has been a super important finish to the season for him to see the power that it's still in there. It wasn't just some fluke earlier on this season. That's been encouraging. But other than that, like Walker's been terrible outside of that walk-off. That was great. Cool moment for him, but he's been horrific in terms of just the overall success. You just haven't had a whole lot of guys that are stepping up offensively. It's basically the same thing that we've seen all year. Burleson, Herrera, a bunch of other guys that are, they're fine.
Yeah, one gets hot, and that's kind of enough for the offense.
And even in the stretch, nobody's been getting hot. So I don't really know what to make of it. I will give them credit where it's due. For them to be able to get back to 500 is really impressive. I did not think they were going to be able to do this. I left them for dead. I think most of us did, if we're being honest. After that Pittsburgh series, we're like, okay. The Tampa series, okay, this is over. And they found a way. They are finding a way to grind through the finish to the season, and they deserve some credit for that. But that's as much as I'm willing to do.
So, sorry to interrupt, T-Bone. It's also kind of false hope, too, because you'll end the season maybe positively and be like, well, this was a bad team. You still ended 500. And then you go into next year, and it's like, oh, well, maybe
That's what I was going to ask is, does it matter if they get to 500?
No.
I was going to say
it's
no.
It's false hope.
I would say the biggest thing is just to not have that on your resume. Like, does it matter? No. But as a team, you know, the whole thing, like, hey, they made the playoffs 10 of the last 12 years, or they haven't gone under 500 since X, Y, and Z. The Cardinals can avoid having to say 2 out of the last, 3 years, you've gone below 500 for the first time in, 50 years or whatever. Yeah. So that's the one thing that it really does. But other than that, does it matter if they win 82 or 80 games this year? Does it really change the way that anybody viewed the season? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is because I know that ownership would have the celebration, and I don't even want to hear it when you're going to tear this thing down to the studs in the offseason. Like, it's hard for me because I can already picture them saying, well, you know, we'll celebrate Mo. Well, Heim's not doing the press conference, and they say, hey, look, Mo only had the 1 year below 500. It's like, yeah, but you're going into a rebuild. Can you really celebrate that you were at or above 500? No, you can't be taking anything to it. So
and I don't think they
it means nothing.
I don't think they'll celebrate that after the season. I don't
know. I know the DeWitts. I think they would celebrate 500.
Oh, absolutely, especially for what they were
say,
for
hey,
a
look,
stretch
we were
there.
a winning team.
Yeah.
It just happened to be that the NL was better than we thought.
We're back to not being below 500.
Our text line is basically just representing what all of us have said this year. Man, it's good to have football back.
That's we'll get back to football.
Hockey's in a week, ladies and gentlemen. Hockey is in a week.
Next, we'll hit the rewind, recapping what we saw over the weekend and taking a look towards Monday Night Football. A really intriguing game tonight between the Vikings and the Bears. We'll give you our thoughts on that coming up next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101ESPN app is where you go to find it. That is all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
If you missed our show today, you missed our reveal of our Pick'em Challenge. It didn't go well for me. It went really well for Alex. T-Bone was not very good, but it was good enough to beat me. You also missed our conversation with Katie Wu. She's an Arizona State fan. We played the final call for Arizona State versus Mississippi State. That was a fun one. We also did our NFL recap, talked Mizzou versus Kansas, Illinois versus Duke. A lot of that all on the podcast page after the show today, 101ESPN.com, the free 101ESPN app, or on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. Blue season just around the corner, and we are going to be having Blues and Brews next Friday, September the 19th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the Blue season at this outdoor street party. I almost got through.
Who's ready for the party? The party of Blues and Brews.
It's a street party featuring. It's because they do the featuring right after the party, so I get excited about it.
Party featuring.
Party featuring live music by the band Perry, plus appearances by. Now I'm in my own head.
You want me to read them in?
And alumni food trucks on stage festivities. Chris Kerber, Vitale, they'll be there. It's all presented by Bud Light, 101 ESPN, 92.3 WIL, and the Scott Lee Heating Company. Find all the details at 101ESPN.com.
Okay. Yeehaw, what a party.
To finish out the show today, T-Bone, your biggest thoughts from the Illinois win against Duke?
Look, they are a college football playoff contender to get in. Look, Luke Altmaier's taking his game to the next level. We've talked about it. He is going to be the identity of that football team from the offensive side of things. Typically, it's been the running game. When you think back to Brett Bielema's success at the college game, including at Illinois 2 years ago, it was Chase Brown that was the identity of that football team. This year, it's Luke Altmaier. He's going to be the driving force for that offense. Defensively, I know they gave a bunch of yards through the air. That's because Duke was down so big. I thought the secondary looked good. They were able to get in the face of Mensa. I think their defense is going to be fine.
Alex, your biggest takeaway from the NFL slate. I'll give you the entire slate. You can get into whatever you'd like. Your biggest takeaway from this week in the NFL was what?
Well, you got a lot of underperforming teams that I thought were going to be really good, but the biggest takeaway was what we saw last night. I think your two teams that are going to be expected to be fighting for a Super Bowl placement is going to be Baltimore and Buffalo, and mostly Buffalo with another MVP-esque season.
For me, I'll go on the Mizzou side of things. Bo Perbula looks the part. I mean, he's the best quarterback that Missouri has had since Drew Lock, and I don't know that there's really a case otherwise right now. He's more accurate than I expected him to be. He's just overall a better thrower of the football than I anticipated. He also has better weapons than I maybe was prepared for coming into the season. Norfleet appears to be having his breakout season. Kevin Coleman Jr. is as pure of a pass catcher as they come. I wasn't sure that they would have somebody emerge in that, like Theo Weiss was this last year. Big third down, go to Theo. That guy is reliable in all situations. That's Kevin Coleman for them this year. Norfleet has been good, and then there were a couple of big-time plays by some of their other pieces as well, and that's not to mention the running game, which was great for them against KU. The score was very close. The actual game was not as close as the score would indicate. They gave up way too many big plays. They got to get that figured out. But Missouri took care of business at home in the rivalry game against Kansas. That is a game that should be played each and every season. We just talked about the Cardinals from what they did over the weekend. Michaelis on the mound tonight against Brian Wu. That's about all I got to say about that. Tonight in the NFL, it will be a Monday Night Football game between the Vikings and the Bears. Two teams that I do not have a feel for at all this year. J.J. McCarthy, a complete unknown in this offense for the Vikings. The Bears, totally new offense. Completely new offense with Ben Johnson. I have no idea what to expect out of this one. The Vikings are a 1.5-point road favorite. Because I don't know what to expect, I'm going to take the Bears as just the home team. Because I truly don't know what to expect from either of these two teams. What are you expecting tonight, Alex?
Big question mark. I'm expecting the under. I'm expecting probably the Vikings to come out on top despite J.J. McCarthy. I think they have better playmakers than what Chicago has. And I give the coach the upper hand, even mostly because I don't know what Ben Johnson looks as a coach right now versus what Minnesota has to offer. But yeah, this one to me is a hell of a confusion. And also because you saw what the Packers are and what the Lions are expected to be despite their underperformance by Green Bay. This just makes that division that much more interesting.
Yeah, I like the underplay today because I think both quarterbacks are going to have some struggles. Caleb Williams, look, that Minnesota defense, Brian Flores does a hell of a job of disguising coverages, making it tough on quarterbacks. I think it's going to lead to Caleb having a tough time, but I do like the Bears just because I don't know what to expect from J.J. McCarthy. You know, he's kind of the big unknown. I think Jefferson's going to have a decent game. He'll get his still. but I think you're going to see McCarthy really go through some struggles here tonight. I think it's like low scoring. I think like 17-10 is the final score in favor of the Bears.
I've already got my entry in on Underdog. Promo code BKO.
My Underdog play for tonight, lower on J.J. McCarthy passing yards. I do agree with T-Bone. Higher on Cole Kmet receiving yards. It's a very low number. Higher on Van Ginkel. I think he's going to have at least a sack in this game. And if you guys want to get in the fun on Underdog, download the app today. Sign up using the promo code BKO. You can score a $50 bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code BKO over on the Underdog app. Don't forget to download that prior to the game today. You can do that in the state of Missouri. It is ready to go for you guys right now. It's one of my favorite things throughout the NFL season. Alex, I hit on one this weekend. Did you hit one?
I hit one over the weekend as well. Five-legger.
Love to see it over on the Underdog app.
Season.
Bet you T-Bone's going to have one for himself tonight. It's going to be a fun
He'll use promo code BKO.
Pick 6, baby.
No, he'll use BKO.
Again, if you guys missed anything, check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, free 101 ESPN app. Alex, your grade from today's show?
I'd give it a 9.2. You want to know why?
What?
Because there was only 2 Cardinal segments, and one of them was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll go high as well. I'll go 9.5, mostly because I enjoyed hearing BK say it to my face, defining a line I look like a playoff
I'll go
team.
9.3 just to one-up Alex a little bit.
Why are you so low on the show, man?
Main reason being...
It's hard to hit a 10. I got to say those for blue seasons.
It could have been pretty close to that if I wasn't completely embarrassed by my performance. If you want to hear more about how terrible I am at picking football games, you're going to hear a lot about that, I would assume, coming up on the Fast Lane, as I was... I mean, just a huge drag on their ability to beat the Rizzuto Show and the Fast Lane Riz Show Pick'em Challenge. So I apologize to them. We are, however, going to get them into their show on time. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK, something that's foreign to us.
We still got 10 more minutes that we could kill if we really want to go off the other timings.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Fast Lane's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.